style one, it ain't over by a long shot. We'll be back at 2 o'clock, and who knows? GameStop could be at $40. GameStop could be at $20. AMC could be at anything as well. Let's just see what happens and enjoy the ride as we take you on over to the professor and Adara. I don't know what the lesson is this week, but I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic one, and there's plenty you can learn, even if you're just paying attention and watching some of these squeeze plays and halts for the first time. And there's a lot that we can gain from this. So let's get to the midday. It's been a fun one. Whew, take a breath. We'll be back.
Yes, yes. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as that midday show. That is your girl Adara, and I'm Sharif. And what a morning it has been on these here markets. Everything and their mother's fourth cousin moving to the high side or downside, depending on whether you're long or short. We already got the OGs making their way in the chat. I see you, Easy Trader and Mom Pulsive, Mr. Long Shorts in the house as well. Balba Nambi, yes, Ponzi, Fonzie, there's trades of all sorts of cars today for you. 605, Ronaldo, Andrew Chow, Ganja Fire, Fiddleback, and Darwin. Shout out to Michael Lloyd, one of the OGs there in the chat. Ted, Cass, Capucci, we got Matt Barth, 1320 Wolf, Benton C. I see you, Big Bob Dub. We got Andrew Chow as well, Stefanzo, Man. Who else we got here? Alaric B, D-Loaf, Alex Enzo. Shout out to all you guys. Thank you for joining Adara and I on the How to Trade show. Lots to talk about today. I'm sure you guys already saw the big kahunas in a plethora of trades. Some good trades already on this side of the desk. Let's get to AAPL. Late to the party, but look for that retracement on that 186 dip and pop, and was able to get long nicely on Apple. They already wet my beak on some profits. Let's look to see if we can break high a day. Keep your eye out on Apple and Softy and Google. The OpenAI event, Adara, coming up at 1 o'clock.
Eastern.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and
Yes.
that should have market moving implications. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing this fine morning?
Good. It was a good weekend. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I went out of town. Unfortunately, the weather was meh, so that was a little less fun. But, you know, you make the most of it. You have good times, and you're ready to take on this market with the viciousness and swiftness that it deserves. My game plan for today is to go back to being my scalpy self, to just kind of try to go at this market with conviction and to take trades if I have conviction. If I don't have conviction, try to stay away. But if you have that conviction, if you have that yen, that yearning to get involved, then get involved. I also got involved in Apple, so I guess I am joining you on this trade.
I like it.
But I saw, it's interesting, I didn't even notice you were involved in that when I was initially trying to get in, and I was like, oh, perfect. I liked that 9 EMA bounce, and I think basically the same reason you got in, though you definitely have a better price than me because you noticed it earlier.
All of 5 pennies, Adara. Let's hold on to these here horses, because, well, it's not a lot.
No, I just want to see if we break below 185.95, so a couple pennies away. I'm going to have to get out. I'm trying to keep risk management pretty tight. Same with, that's what I did with the TQs as well. Risked about 5 pennies. We dipped below that VWAP, but kind of a riskier trade anyway, and so I just got out of the long. I was really just trying to play it for a couple pennies there. Also, thank you so much to Kyle Burdett for the $4.99 super chat. Big Kyle will be back on the charts tomorrow, listening in and getting the bearings today. And then he has a special comment for you that I'm going to let you look at.
I didn't even look at it. Let me see here.
Just look at the last line.
All right, Kyle.
So
I like that. I like that. It's staying on. You guys can come with the comments, but it's staying on. I love you guys, man. You guys always troll me in the chat. Shout out to Big Kyle. And I think he's still on vacation. So shout out to him. All right, guys. We have a couple of more things to cover before we get started on today's lesson. Let's get to that right now. Let me show you the small cap gappers. It's going to be full of these meme style names. You got AMC. I just heard the Katina man yell again about GME as it got off the 50 period. They're on the 5, 27.5 holds nicely. And there goes 30 in that 30.5 touch. Let's see if it can work its way back near highs. So GME, AMC just printed highs as we speak, a cool 33% up on the day, 391 HOD knocking on the door of $4. Donald John Trump also up as well. Keep in mind that a star witness may testify today, and that could help things move on DJT, so you should have eyes on it just in case. CCLD, not a meme name, but moving up nonetheless, a cool 84% above the volume weighted average price. Alas, it has not broken that pre-market high that at 266, only 260. pre-market high, but keep your eye on this one. It's above VWAP and trading quite well. NVAX, you heard Neil cover NVAX multiple times today. I'm not sure if the Katina man had eyes on this, but this one has been in one direction and one direction only since 9:55. We've only had one red candle on the 5-minute chart. Everything else has been green, and this thing is up well over 50%, 56% and change up on the day. So we'll keep eyes on this monster here, definitely. What else we got here? OUST at day's high as well. It printed 14. Sorry, not at day's high. It printed 14 at day's high. At the volume weighted average price right now, trying to hold above VWAP at 1340. This one is a holdover from last week. You'll see Elst had a fantastic Friday. I mean, this thing really got going. We still haven't broken Friday's HOD. That's around $14 and I believe 17 cents. Best we could do today is 14, so still an inside day for OUST. We'll keep eyes on all these monsters. I did get out of Apple because it did break my stop, but that's all right there. We'll look to get involved, but I think we have like 1 more minute until we got to do that read. So what are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, took a couple L's, but we're just trying to make some M's here. Did have this AMD. This went awry. We had to pop down an Apple that got me out of my Apple long, same as you. I don't know if same price, but I got around the same time. Then this AMD, I liked the short. We had the lower highs. We were peered. We had a perfect moment for that VWAP rejection. We were also having that rejection in that pre-market area. I thought, beautiful, beautiful. And then we're going to move down and Apple for some reason. AMD's like, hey, I'm going to jump. I don't know why these two are moving in opposite, but I'm like, do your thing, 21. We broke above that 65 area. I was going to risk about 15 pennies. Got out. No skin off my back. Slightly disappointed in what's happened so far today. But you know what? With slight disappointment comes a desire to continue and strive to do better.
Absolutely. Adara. We are brought to you by Blue Chew. Guys, do you remember the good old days when you were always ready to go? Well, those days do not have to be over. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in convenient, chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and you'll receive your prescription discreetly delivered to your door within days. No awkward doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the good old USA and shipped directly to you. And we've got a special deal for you. Try Blue Chew free when you use this promo code TRADERTV at the checkout. Just pay $5 for shipping. So visit bluechew.com, promo code TRADERTV for that free special deal. Shout out to the good folks there at Blue Chew. All right, so let's get to the lesson du jour because we are already 9 minutes behind here. Darryl, we are talking about moving average crossovers all week long and all the derivatives thereof, Ram. And so today we're just going to introduce the topic and then we'll get a little bit more nuanced as the week goes on. So welcome traders. Today we're diving into the world of moving average crossovers, a powerful tool for identifying trends in the market. But before we jump in, let's establish that foundation. We just got to establish what moving averages are and the crossovers, and then we'll get to the actual crux of the lesson for everybody who's new to trading. So imagine a line smoothly following a stock's price chart. That's a moving average. Essentially, averaging a security's price over a chosen period. So the moving average could be 50 days in length, 20 days in length, 10 days in length. You customize it, you choose it, and we use different lengths for different reasons, okay? So the longer the period, typically the smoother the line will appear on the chart, reflecting the long-term trends. Shorter moving averages typically react faster to price changes and capturing short-term trends. And you'll see more action, more zigzagging, more ups and downs on the shorter-term trends than you will on the longer-term moving averages. So just keep that in mind. So shorter MAs are for shorter term trends. Imagine, and here basically this is the whole idea here. So the red line, which is on this line over here on this chart, it's the 200 EMA, and the blue, the 20 is the green, and then the 50 is the blue, so kind of counter to mine. Mine, the blue is the 200 and the red is the 50. So you'll see exactly there, the 200 much less bumpy, much more smooth, even though it is sloped down, it has less peaks and troughs in it, and that just establishes that it's less susceptible to these moves up on a daily basis. So the power of the crossover, what are we using it for? So the magic happens when these moving averages cross paths. So when one, say, 50-period moving average crosses above the 200, either up or down. It's the crossing of the moving averages that we're talking here, not what the actual moving averages are doing. So here's where trend identification comes into play. So the first thing we're going to talk about is something known as the golden cross. This bullish signal occurs when a shorter moving average, like a 50, crosses above, so goes from south to north, above a longer term moving average, like the 200. So the 50 crossing above the 200, widely seen in the technical analysis market as a bullish signal in non-consolidative markets. Okay, it'll suggest to you a potential shift in power with short-term momentum taking over and a possible uptrend on the horizon. So when it crosses from the south side to the north side, usually it's a bullish indicator. When it crosses, as I'm about to explain to you next, from the north side to the south side, it's a bearish indicator. And that's what we call a death cross. Brace yourselves, because this one signals a potential downturn. It occurs when the shorter term moving average dives below the longer term moving average. This suggests weakening short-term momentum and a possible downtrend developing. And here it is. Thank you, Adair, for adding these awesome charts in. You have the blue. Here is the 50, the black is the 200, and this is the golden cross. Now, we're going to talk later this week about what also look for when you get these crossovers. But for today, we're keeping our focus limited, mostly to the actual crossovers and not to the use of any other indicators to help confirm the bullish move. And again, here is another example of it. This is the death cross. The 50 period here is orange. The 200 period here is blue. And the 50 period crosses from the north to the south side below the 200 period. That is a death cross, and typically it precedes a longer term downtrend. So that's not the only type of what's going on over there. The Katina man is about to say bye-bye to Nvidia here, it looks like, as it's headed to the high side there. Katina man, what's your look on that one? You're looking for... The Katina man is long 899 on Nvidia, by the way, guys. It's trying to break through 902 as we speak. He's looking for 910. So we have a 908.88 HOD, but he's looking for that 910 break. Good luck there for the Katina man. Higher highs and higher lows on that 5-minute look there on Nvidia. Keep your eye out on that. And if you don't know, sorry to interrupt the lesson, you don't know, we have another channel. It goes by the name of More Trader TV Live, and you'll be able to see Sean's general positions and Neil's general positions. We're trying to work on the exact price for their entry. Sometimes it comes off a little wonky, but that's where you get it there, and you'll be able to see what they're trading. So the double moving average crossover, Ram, is another very important one as well. So we talked about the golden cross, we talked about the death cross, but there's also the double moving average crossover. So what is this? This strategy uses two short-term moving averages, short-term moving averages, like the 10-day and the 20-day, okay? When the faster moving average, like the 10-day, crosses above the slower moving average, like the 20-day, it can signal an earlier entry point into a potential uptrend and vice versa for a downtrend. So when the 10 period crosses below the 20 period. So it's the same idea here, but you're looking for it as an entry point for a longer term trend. So you're still keeping your eye on what the 50 and the 200 are doing. What you're trying to do in this case is become more nuanced with your entry so you can get a better price, and that's where you're employing the shorter term moving averages like the 10 and the 20. These signals, however, can be more frequent, and they are prone to false positives due to their shorter time frame. So as I always say about the charts, if you're charting on the 5-minute, versus the 1 hour, your failure rate on the 5 minutes is going to be a lot higher than your failure rate on the 1 hour. That goes with here as well. If you use a shorter term moving average, its failure rate in whatever it's doing is likely to be higher than what the 200 is doing. So putting it all together, remember, crossovers are just one piece of the puzzle. Here are some tips to solidify your trend identification. Confirmation is key, as it always is. We don't want to put too much stock into one indicator. So don't base your decisions solely on crossovers. Look for confirmation from other technical indicators like RSI and stochastics in order to gauge the momentum and identify potential overbought and oversold situations. We will be covering how to use RSI and some other indicators with moving average crossovers later this week. But price action is also super important. Price action confirmation strengthens the crossover signal. Look for breakouts above resistance levels, which is bullish, or breakdowns below support levels, which is bearish, obviously, happening around that crossover point. And remember, while powerful, crossovers can be misleading, especially during volatile markets. They generate false signals or whipsaws, as we call them in the trading world, where prices reverse shortly after the crossover. And here you have an example of a bullish crossover where the 200 takes the 50, and then I guess maybe a month later or so, less than a month later, you get a bearish crossover. So one thing you really need to keep your eye on, is the market trending? Yes or no? If the market's trending, crossovers do better. If the market is consolidative, crossovers mean almost diddly squat, okay? So you really need to understand the overall trend of the market before you decide to use these crossover techniques, all right? They happen often in consolidative markets. They don't happen as much in trending markets. So your takeaway, mastering moving average crossovers takes practice and a healthy dose of skepticism. I know I was quite skeptical of them, especially earlier on. By understanding the golden and death crosses, exploring variations, and incorporating confirmation techniques, of which we'll be speaking out more later this week, you will be well on your way to identifying trends with greater confidence. And here's a bit of a bonus challenge with you. Test your newfound knowledge. Grab some historical charts or paper trading account and practice identifying the moving average crossovers that we've talked about today. Paper trading, don't forget this, guys, allows you to experiment without risking real money. And I'm going to say something that's unpopular, and I don't care. You shouldn't be trading with real money if you can't prove profitability in the sim. That's it.
I concur. As someone who's still struggling to prove profitability with real money, if I'm being incredibly honest, but I do still think that this sim was incredibly helpful for me because it helped me get a sense of what works for me, and that's why I'm trying to trade more in that style right now, scalp.
Gotcha.
But yeah, thank you so much to your IT remote for 2 super chats. $1 super chat. Thank you so much for both of those $1 super chats. Your IT remote. Not seeing a message here. If you have anything we want to say, feel free to tag one of us. And we will definitely look at that. I'm seeing some mentions of Rivian in the chat. We'll get to my questionable life choices in a moment, but let's take a look at Rivian first before we get to that. Rivian, call it Revian.
What is happening?
That's a nice, I know Neil was looking at that one earlier. Is there any news on him?
Oh, this is
not seeing anything on Rivian. That's a nice look though, and look at these levels we kind of have. That 1107 area kind of popping up twice. This could actually be a head and shoulders. And I say that because this would be maybe too clean of head and shoulders, but look at this little kind of neckline you've got here at 1095, right? Shoulder, 1107. Shoulder, 1107. Head, 1120. Not sure, but this could be a nice look. Alex Enzo asking if I touch GME. I have not looked at GameStop right now. I haven't even gotten game started, so I can't GameStop. But if we have this VWAP bounce, I don't dislike that. Could be a little bit compressed. That being said, spread on this about 8 pennies. I do not know if I trust myself enough on this. It's something I'd have to study very intensely before getting involved. That being said, yes, so I took some L's earlier, which I mentioned, but I have another thing to talk about. I put the L in Tesla. No, I'm joking. We actually had one really nice trade on Tesla, and I'm proud of how I managed the trade that lost. So first trade you've got here on TSLA, I got involved in this short because I noticed we kept getting to that 173.30, then batting it down to 173.10s. I got at 173, I think 15, took 2 outs on that. Then I got short. No, I got long again. Sorry, I got long because I noticed these lows were getting higher and higher. So I said, you know what, Adara, go long 173.21. 3 guesses if you figure out why I picked 21 there. But no, I got long 173.21. Was trying to take it into 33s. Tesla decided to drop. I said, if we get below that 173.10 level decisively, I'll get out. Got out. Really proud of where I got out because I get out and then it drops to the viciousness. So, sometimes you have to be proud of how you manage losses, even if you can't make wins. I've been watching this like a hawk. I think today I'm going to marry myself to Tesla. And I don't mean marry to Tesla like that's the only thing I'll trade. But I'm watching this book because there are scalp opportunities here for me. Scalp opportunities, if you will. That 172.80, that was a nice little support area earlier. If that flips, I'll take that short. So I think there's some things for me in Tesla. I think my biggest issue on the last couple of days, trading way too many names, trying to limit my scope so I can make better trades on the few names I am trading rather than making trades on a whole bunch of names. That's the look. What are you looking at right now? I see NVAX.
Yes, I was just about to look at NVAX. I think, let me just find out their name. Rohit Sharma wants to look at NVAX. But before I do that, my man Nimit is back in the dang chat. And I'm happy because, he likes these small cap gappers, Adara. So anybody who likes these small cap gappers is a friend of mine. I'm kidding, of course, everybody's my friend. Tup's making moves. Who remembers Tup, guys, from a few months ago? Well, it's moving big boy today. Again, not likely any news here on our friend Tup, but moving with all the other game stonks, the meme stonks that are moving on the day. We're coming into $2 here in a minute. So look, we don't have a catalyst, so we're not going to cover that part of things. But here's the look on Tup. $90.25 million market cap just dropped to 89.75. The float, 42.5 million shares. Let's bring in trade ideas and shout out the NOS boss on his crew and find out what the short float is, if any. On Tupperware, come on, Tup. Wow, 24.25% of the float on Tupperware is shorted. That is big boy shorts. So we will keep an eye for a possible squeeze here on TUP. It behooves us, though, to do some charting here. And as I said, remember Tupperware from a few months ago and looked like it was moving big boy in October. It had multiple big boy days there in October and then again in December. So one thing I'm noticing immediately, 200 on the daily has been an excellent area of rejection. We reject October 12th, 2023, reject. We reject again December 26th, 2023. And now we're back right there. We've broken above it by a bit. So I am, thinking that there is a chance here that we revert at least below this 190 area, 180 area to close below the 200 period on the daily. That's just from a macro sense, right? Looking from the wider time frame. Now, with respect to areas of resistance that are not indicator related, that are price action related. Nimit, I'm thinking, right away that $2 level, I'm looking at that $2 level because it's the whole dollar level. But there's not too much in the way of interaction with $2 here on the chart. In fact, it looks like, the majority of the closing prints, during this consolidated period over here from late November till essentially late January. We had definitely issues with $2 on a closing basis, but we were able to break above it multiple times on a wicking basis. So I don't think $2 is really going to be, it's going right now. It's breaking above $2, $2.03, right? Above that, really it's kind of hard to chart because just so down and to the right. I'm going to go ahead and say the peak over here, 260, 250-ish area. And then again, yeah, this 260, 250 area is even better. The reason is because we closed on October 12th at that level, even though we wicked all the way up to 298. And then this was a very similar close again in December. So 260, 250, I'm thinking, you're probably, if you're holding and it's still going at that point, I'd wet my beak on some profits around there. So that's my look on top. Let's go into the 5-minute here and figure out how to weasel our way in. So the 20-period retracement looked to be the best. I'm going to say look for a 10-period retracement on the 5. For the most part, it's held the 10-period quite well, save and except for this candle over here at 1020. Most of the retracements into the 10-period on the 5-minute chart have all been bought up. Keep your eye on that. I hope you print on it. Now, let's look at NVAX. for Rohit Sharma. Rohit, this was a big boy move into 14 bucks, 13.97 technically, and now we're doing the dance with, you guessed it, the 10-period moving average on the 5. So this is featuring a lot today. It's at about 12 3/4. We've had wicks into that 12.5, 3 bottoming tail candles, all of which have been met with buyers buying at that $0.50. I'm talking about NVAX, $12.50, seems to be a buyer. Where it looks like we're curling here. Look for a break and hold above 13. If you close above 13, I think there's a good chance we start curling up here. I like the fact that we're holding up at the first EMA, not the second or the third or VWAP. You're holding up at the 10. So this looks awfully bullish if it is able to hold up at these parts. But look for a closing print and then a curl. I'd look for a first 5-minute candle to make a new high as confirmation on a closing basis on NVAX. There's so many small cap gappers to talk about today, Adair.
That's a gorgeous look on that Novavax.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice look. Right now, Andre Bourget was asking if there's any news on Amazon. I did see that earlier today, the National Highway Traffic Safety Association opening a probe into its Zoox vehicles because there was some braking concern for that its Zoox portion. This initially, I did see this in the morning, it wasn't reacting too much. Now looks like a bit of a delayed reaction there. So just a note on AMZ, I'm not sure if that's why it's dropping, but that's some context. Basically flat on Tesla now. I don't want to sing, I don't want to pull Rick Astley, say never going to give you up, but I think if Tesla keeps showing these areas, I'm going to keep trying to play them. I think I've been a little bit too, let you down and trade you, I don't know. But basically, I did trade that short there. I took that short I was mentioning, took it at 90, so got about, I think, 15 pennies, which for my purposes, I'm pleased as punch with. Then here's my issue with Tesla. Every time I try to flip long, Tesla's like, meh. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is just stay short. If I take, and it doesn't even matter if these levels are ranging. The second I try to flip long, Tesla bares its teeth. Tesla shuts the door in my face. So I say, you know what, Tesla? Then I'll keep going short. That's cool. I can take these levels short. So right now for me, the short on Tesla is still, at least in my little baby ranges, going to be that 172.85-esque into 172.40s. That being said, I am willing to play it long, but I've noticed every time I try to play it long, and I mean, when I say play it long, I mean we've been bouncing. And Tesla's just like, bye. So I think the long has been really bamboozling. I think there are opportunities in the short, at least for my purposes. Again, not advice, just my take on the chart. And keep in mind, I do trade a highly specific way. So that's something worth noting as well. And as I say that too, we keep bouncing. Now it looks like we're going to break that floor. So Tesla really does not want to be long right now, but I can live with that. If Tesla wants me to keep scalping short, I shall keep scalping short. I'm also acting like Tesla cares at all what I want to do. And I know it doesn't. But yeah, it's been a really fun time in these markets, not for my P&L, but certainly for my energy and for me just, participating and being an active participant in these markets. Intel, I wanted to wait before I got involved in this bounce, but I'm seeing a bounce. I'm seeing a bounce of that previous support a little bit.
They were able to get new money again.
They did, yeah. I knew you were always calling, saying that
the world's most, I don't know, what's the word?
Coddled.
Yes, thank
Coddled.
You. Perfect
That's
word.
The word.
Perfect word. They seem to be getting money from every which way. And
very coddled, Sharif.
I'm looking to go long on Apple at 185.50. So the dip trade's already in. You'll be able to see that through the aqua line right there. It makes it down there fantastic. If it doesn't, I don't trade it. So simple as that. Here's a look on AAPL, the VWAP, the volume weighted average price at 185.50. But that's not the only thing at 185.50 that I like. Look at this pre-market top here where that $0.50 acted as a prolonged level of resistance for whatever reason. If it makes its way back into the $0.50, I will want the smoke. And so I'm putting my order already there. Now, initially I was looking, I'm like, all right, let's see what it does with 186. All right, so we took a quick scalp and pop on 186, but it's become awfully consolidative, a little bit below 186 in the 185.80s, a little bit above 186 in the 186.20s. Okay, so it's a bit of a sideways move. Fantastic. That's not how I'm going to trade it, though. I'm going to trade it off a key level, a more specific level. I'm not looking for Apple to range today. There is a catalyst for Apple. We do have the event coming up at 1 o'clock. That will either be I don't want to call it a make or break for Apple, but I don't anticipate it's going to be consolidative during that time. It may sell off if the news comes in that the market didn't like, or it may pop if it does. So I'd like to get some momentum trades rather than range trades on Apple. That's a really labored way of trying to say that very simple sentence. So I'm looking 185.50 here on the dead one. We'll continue to see what happens there. Somebody was asking me to look at Meta, and I absolutely will oblige to look at META. Now, I've said this in the past, and I want to say this again. I looked for Meta today to basically reclose or to close this entire down move. Meta has had this propensity to go red to green multiple times last week, multiple times the week before, and I assumed we would get that entire move back today. And alas, we didn't. We got almost about half of the move, a little bit more than half of the move we recovered back. 462, essentially 463 low of day, with the breakdown area being around that 474.5, even though technically the high of day is 473 and a third. But look, this is where we started breaking down in the pre, 10 minutes before the open. So I'm looking for a possible hold of this level. It seems to have found support at pivot support level 2 at 465.50, and now it's kind of consolidating sideways below the volume weighted average price, below the 10 period as well. Let's see if this one can curl back and put a higher low. So if this ends up being the low, this will be the lowest of the lows. So I'm going to keep my eyes on Meta. If it starts curling back up, I want to see a gap fill from that big down move today, because it's been doing it in the past. The other thing that is doing things here, the Amazon, I was just talking to somebody in the chat, I forget their name, I think his name was Gorev, was just telling me, look, man, I took Amazon, it was a blue sky setup last week, and then all of a sudden it tanks. I said to him, you know, when you do get all-time highs on a name like Amazon, there's likely going to be some profit taking, but I was unsure about exactly how long his hold window was, because, you know, I mean, if it's just 1 or 2 days, then you're stopped out. But if you're looking for a little bit longer of a swing, Amazon obviously looking good. And it's looking good here as well. And the reason I say that, Adara and Ram is because neither of which cares.
Oh, I care. I care.
Yeah, I know. I'm just teasing. We're putting it.
So salty.
Ram just said in my ear, she personally does not, you know what, right? Oh, so
I do know what. I do know what I think.
185.58. It's putting in these bottom tail candles. If this closes above the 10 period, this will be interesting. But right now, it is one rejection after another on the 10 period moving average, on the 5 minute on Amazon. But it is looking here like it's bottoming, tailing. So we'll have to wait and see whether that actually shows us that it's going to curl back up, or what the situation is. The dead one, though, is on the way back up, I guess, into 186.25, Katina, man. I was looking at 185.50 for a dip trade on Apple. Alas, it doesn't look like it's coming back into that almost $0.25 here, there.
Yeah, it's a nice look on Amazon, those rejections. And I see what you mean. Like, I feel like it's trying to be a bit of a bamboozler. It's like, I kept rejecting, but now I'm bouncing. So I think that Amazon could be nice. I'm also really proud of what I did with Tesla. I'm just gonna say it. Like, I was saying initially I wanted that 172.80 rejection, right? And then I was like, Atera, you know what you're seeing here is you're seeing that we're having slightly lower highs. So I did something that is not the type of trade I would normally do at all, but I felt really confident in it. And like I said, the biggest thing I'm trying to do more of is don't get involved in trades if you don't feel confident, but if you feel confident, by all means, put your foot in the door and get involved, and that's what I did. I basically started building this around 172.52s. Why? Because that was an area we had a little bit of a rejection off of. So I said, worst case scenario, I get half the position I want at 172.52s. Then I say, you know what? Imagine things go even better. Let's also have a dip sell at 160. Oh, sorry, Nvidia first. Doesn't matter, keep going. Sorry, then my other opportunity was like, you know what? If we reject at 172.67, then we'll add to the position there. So we had an average of 172.59, pretty respectable. I said if we break above 80, we get out. We got to about 77s, then we fell to the downside, started scraping in this out around 172.40s, scraped out the rest around 172.35s. Please this punch. We could actually look like we're bouncing up again here. I don't have a read on this right now, but I think like what I'm trying to say is if you like something, go for it and treat it with the swiftness and the viciousness that the market will treat you. So that's what I decided to do there. Going with that swiftness, that viciousness. Apple getting a little bit of a pop-up. As much as it pains me to say, yeah, I do not think this is a range trade. I totally agree with what you said there with Apple.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be what happens at that event.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
sense.
like there's so much riding on the line. Apple, no AI news. Apple, no AI news. All of a sudden, they're teaming up with OpenAI, the AI. So, I mean, I think we're going to get some sort of move here. It looks like it's curling back up, Adara, and yeah, so a bit of a tougher look here for me. I was sitting at 185.55. It's not gonna trigger. It's putting in a rounded bottom, likely defending the 20 period on the 5. The wicks are coming into the yellow line and bouncing off that yellow line. You do not have a closing print below that yellow line. So here we go. It looks like it's gonna rounded bottom. Shout out to the NOS boss and all his rounded bottoms, and Kyle Burdett, who likes them as well. So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll keep an eye on this. 186.50, I guess, really is going to be that breakout area or resistance area. I know we have 43 highs, but that $half area has been holding up for a little bit. Let's go back from a few days ago when Apple did pop. Where do we get up to? Have we broken those highs? So what the hell day is this? This is 187. So that's a 9 a.m. print. This is in the pre, and then right at the bell, we got into 187. So 187 we know is resistance from both the is that the aftermarket? Yes, the aftermarket on May 2nd and the opening range, thanks Katina man, the opening range trade on May 3rd. So 187 in full focus today. That is a local resistance level on the dead one Apple. And I would say, you know, if we make it into 187 and we don't continue through, I'll be looking for a short off there because each one on the previous days, May 2nd and May 3rd, has paid and paid with dollars, not pennies, with dollars. So 187 resistance on AAPL. That's if it makes it up there. We'll continue to watch that. Guys, I don't really have any good trades on at the moment. I'm not liking anything. So let's flip back into the small cap gappers and see if I can trade these nutty stocks. Okay, let's. I don't mean that. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so we're getting a nice $12 hold here on NVAX. And yeah, I'm going to flip to NVAX here because it's trading like a decent small cap gapper. We know this one has 24.5% of its float is short. This $12 area was an area of resistance earlier. Now it's holding as support. So I'm going to go ahead and see if that area wants to defend again. I'm going to look at NVAX for a possible $12 dip and hold it there.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that NVAX gives you that shot in the arm to the upside. That would be fabulous. It's a nice look there on that VWAP hold as well. And that actually reminds me, I want to ask you something. Oh. So with some of these small cap gappers that are more like the GMEs of the world or the Novavaxes, where they have a short float and they behave a little bit more parabolically, do you treat them with the same rules and the same kind of approach that you take with your normal small caps?
So if they're meme stocks like GameStop and AMC, I'm not going to have that pre-market high trading above the pre-market. No, these are for the we're not around for a long time, we're around for a good time kind of stocks. Yeah, yeah. So that's my look there.
I was just curious because I was like, I know that some of them are kind of similar. Yeah.
Yeah, they look the same.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, one thing too I'm searching for is this out on Google ahead of I want to take this long. And the reason it might be like, I initially thought this was maybe a short as well because we were kind of curling down. And I said, you know what, Adara, we did the nice pop up. And the way you trade, you know you're not going to be in this very long, Adara. So I guess I'm talking to myself out loud. So I was like, you know what, take your 14 pennies and wave goodbye. Nice little British hand wave there. I want to get out 166.09s. Is that what I set my order as? Yes, it is. 166.09s. That was the top of that little flag earlier. We could break out. I'll miss the breakout. That's not how I trade, though, so I'm okay with that. And that's what I'm realizing. You have to trade how you trade. My biggest issue, my hamartia, my fatal flaw, to use, I guess, an old English term from like grade 10 English, my hamartia since going live has been that I've not been trading my style. And that's why I really appreciate Sharif talking to me about this last week. Like, hey, if you found something worked for you when you were in the sim, why the heck are you not doing that since going live? And you know what? I didn't have a good answer. I did not have a good answer. And I think my lack of a good answer was an answer in and of itself. That being said, Google, if you're going to curl down a little bit, I'll take you out a little bit earlier. I have no qualms. I am qualmless. We'll get out 166.03s. I'll take 8 pennies. I was basically risking here until like, 165.90, so I'm okay taking a little bit less, and that's why I call it scalpulation. I have a plan, but I am more than willing to adapt that plan if that means I make some profit and I don't lose anything. So you could call that greedy, and I have called it greedy in the past. I think that's a different form of greed that oddly enough comes from fear. But you want to secure the bag or secure the egg. And in this case, my market protein was going to be that Google long.
Wow, you were just bam, one after the other. The egg, market protein, I love it.
Well, I mean, why not, right? You got to have.
No, but I agree with everything you just said there.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Big Kyle Burdett is in the chat again. He just dropped a nice little level there. SPY gave a nice bear flag. Look on the 15, and if you were patient, it paid on the continuation down. Shout out to Big Kyle Burdett. Here is the look at the SPY. This excludes pre-market action though, guys, because I excluded on this particular chart. Here's the 15. Shout out to Big Kyle. Yep, there it is. And there you got the L-shaped kind of move, and then down we go again. So we'll see if we hold this 52.50 by the end of day, Kyle, because we were talking about 52.50 as a level of support if we were able to hold it. If we can't hold 52.50, it's that quarter point level, 52.25, that we have an area of support on the daily, or on the 4 hour at least, on the ES June contract. So keep your eyes on that. Shout out to Big Kyle for his call outs there. Now, I put in several dip trades. I even put one on GME. I'm looking to defend this here double bottom on GameStonk, and I put my order at 27 and change. So I'm looking for that 27.60s to hold that 50 period. The 50 period seems to be holding up. If we can curl, this would be a nice 50 period general hold here on GameStop. We'll have to wait and see if that gets filled. I've also put my dip trade, as I showed you earlier, on NVAX for that level. It hasn't filled yet. And I also have my dip trade on AAPL at 185.50. That's like 60 pennies away currently. Very, very sideways. I think you may be right, Adara. I think, I think I said earlier that Apple would not be, I would not be trading Apple as a range trade, but I think right now it currently is ranging a little bit until maybe we see or get something from that AI event. So, yeah, that's really all I have at the moment. I really wish I had more, but I don't. And I'm looking on the ones that I've been watching all day, but nothing is to my liking. Okay, Tupperware just came back into VWAP at $1.80. Last time Tup came into VWAP, it bounced up quite nicely there, about 26 pennies off that 180. What's going on over there, Katina Man? Nvidia is trying to break again, says the Katina Man. So let's have a look at say that again. Katina Man has 898 HOD. As we pointed out to you last time, these higher lows and higher highs is an obvious upward channel. The Katina Man is looking for 910. On that, we have a 908, 88 HOD. But look at this. This is an upward channel. So this is a great move. He's got 898s off that VWAP dip. Shout out to him. And yeah, we're going to keep updating you about his position. He's looking to wet his beak at 910, Adair.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk myself out of taking this Intel trade, and I want to explain why I'm trying to talk myself out of it. So I just kept saying, oh, this bounce at 30.90 is beautiful, and then I didn't take it because, Mr. Stressla requires all your attention. And so if I wanted to short that successfully, which I'm happy to say I mostly, actually all the shorts on Tesla were successful. It was when I tried to flip long that it went badly. So yeah, what I will say, the shorts on Tesla were successful, currently up on the name, but alas, that meant I had to leave my Intel in the wind. But now I look at this again and I say, Adara, you initially saw this bounce here at the 30.90, not once, not twice, but thrice. But now I'm like, we're kind of rejecting off that 31. So I was like, you know what? Maybe we could take a bit of a short here. It looks like in all of my dilly-dallying, my humming and hawing, we've already missed that opportunity. But Intel, there's something in the water here. I just don't know what it is. And I don't want to, put my, my rod in the water and end up reeling in a shark. Right? I'd rather reel in a nice bass or a cod that I can, serve to feed my family. This analogy got very out of hand. But I want to keep an eye on INTC because there's something here and it's staying on the side chart. I honestly, I think much like you, I don't have a read on a lot of things right now and I want to probably renovate my side charts. But this Tesla, I think, is curling. I know I just said I don't like any longs on Tesla, but I do if we're going to have these little wicks off the bottom. And hey, if previous resistance is going to form a support, you guys know what I'm about. I'm about going long here. taking that long off that 172.45, I might have missed that opportunity. If we break below 172.30s, bye. Won't be in sync anymore. Right now, though, we are, and we want 60s. And I'm pretty sure I should have just stuck to my rule of not going long Tesla because it looks like it's going to give up the ghost here. But I mean, if I like the trade, if I feel confident about the trade, got to take it. So we're going to go for 65s, risking about 15 pennies trying to make 20. That is something I would say I can more than live with. Really just trying to take these scalps slightly larger size. And again, not massive size, like a Dara size shares. So, you know, smaller. A Shara, I guess. But yeah, so smaller positions. I need us to bounce off this 172.30 though, because if not, I'm gonna have to say, Adair, you should have stuck to the original plan to avoid going long Tesla altogether. But I did like the look, so hopefully, to quote Prince, you got the look. And I got this Tesla long on lock. That would be the goal. But we are falling a little bit below that 172.30s here. So I'm going to have to say sayonara to Madame Wazelle Tesla. I've never called her that before. I think Eli Lilly might get a little bit jealous. But got to get out of this right now. I'm going to pass it over. How's Tupperware going?
Yeah, it's good. I just got into Tupperware now. Going to be super tight stop. And it's bouncing off the area that I look for. So, I mean, I don't have much to risk here because I'm literally getting in at the area that I want it to get in at. So if it's not right here, then I'm going to lose about 6 or 7 pennies on this name. So we'll see exactly how we do on TUP, up 39.5%. Okay, Tupperware, I see you. I don't think I actually have any brand name Tupperware, all like fake stuff, I guess. I don't know.
I know you have a lot of reusable containers. I was going to ask you.
Adara, I do. With all the eggs that I eat, you got to be able to preserve all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, can't just be eating eggs willy-nilly like that. You got to be able to preserve it. So, yeah, we'll see exactly. TUP curling into 182. We'll see if it is able to make its way up into 185. That is where I have first said profit taker. TUP, no headline, guys. It is moving. It looks like at least we see now in sympathy with these meme stonks. So we'll see exactly we'll get there. I don't want to stare at it because I've already done everything I needed to do on it. Now, it looks as if my NVAX dip trade will not come in, at least not for now. And if it does come in, it may come in at a time where it's no longer valid, which will precipitate me to cancel it. So right now, it is coming into that $12.80 area for whatever reason. We had a bit of a top at this 12.80. Here we go again, coming into 12.75. Do we break that top with vigor or what the deal is? Let's see what we get here on NVAX. Neil was covering NVAX all day today, and it has been moving, not just because of these meme stocks. No, this bad boy did get a separate headline last week that caused it to go up. So it's moving, yes, maybe in sympathy with these memes, but it does have some fundamental reason why it should be moving here. So now it looks like we're printing 185 on top, and there it is, baby. We get the print there. Let's see if we can continue to move up here on said Tupperware. Yeah, it's doing all right now. Yeah, see, this is what I mean by, like, look. You keep thinking, I'm looking at Apple right now. I keep thinking, you know, we're going to get that breakout, higher lows, possibly higher highs here on Apple, but I think I'm seeing what I may want to see. This is likely going to be a range trade until we get more deets from that, what is it called again? That AI conference from OpenAI?
I don't think it has a name.
It doesn't have a name, eh? Okay, well, yeah, if it doesn't have, whatever. The OpenAI AI conference. So that's... We're likely going to get some information about Apple and whether or not they're going to be actually partnering with OpenAI there. All right, so that's the look there. I'm going to let that one go. We're nicely in the money now on TUP as it comes into 190. So good hold off that 20 period. That's what I was looking for on TUP. But alas, I'm greedy and I want more. Let's see if we can get that $2 move. That's about 10 pennies from where we're at. Jay Lee. Everyone buys Tupperware at the dollar store. They don't make money. They knock off, the knockoff brands do. Exactly, Jay. That's where the majority of my Tupperware comes from, like the fake Tupperware from Dollarama. You know how it is in Toronto, man. Everybody hits up Dollarama. Big Kyle Burdett. If you made spicy dill pickled eggs, all you need is a big glass jar. I've never had that. I've seen it before. I've seen said pickled eggs. I've never tasted them. I don't know if you've done that before.
No, I was going to ask you though, are you a deviled egg person?
My mom is.
Oh, okay.
She absolutely loves her deviled eggs. Yeah, she's all about that life. To me, I'm more about function. You know what I mean? I'm more of I eat for function.
That is you do.
Yeah,
You do.
I'm a functional eater.
That's a good point. I guess eggs are big in the Gabriel household then. It sounds like that is like the vibe. But yeah, so that's very cool. It's I guess it runs in the family. But yeah, I heard you say Apple in a range, and I went
bang.
So I got involved. I am getting out if we break below 185.91, so I am risking the highly specific 7 pennies, but I want at least math quickly. Dara, do math fast. It's gonna be like at least like 19 pennies. Usually I'm faster at math, but you know, it's a Monday.
Yeah, she's
But
quite
so we're gonna
good.
get about 19 pennies. I want to get into that 186.15. In the words of the pal next to me, Sharif, I want all the smoke. So that's what we're gonna be getting. Tesla, I should have stuck to my rules of not going long Tesla. I went long Tesla. Okay, trying to get out, I accidentally go short. And you might be thinking, oh, you can quickly extricate yourself from that. I could not. We went right back up just as soon as I got in. So that was a little bit of a, you know, a rinse, a bit of a haircut there. Now Apple breaking below, so this has not been my trading day, but you know what that means? Things can always turn around. Turn that frown upsidicity. Shout out to Parks and Rec if anyone knows that show. And just keep going, keep pushing, keep churning. Right now I don't have any profits to store in my Tupperware container, but hopefully, Sharif, we already took that beak water there. So
yeah.
That's a nice look.
It's still moving up.
Yeah, I just feel like it's just finding the right opportunities. You know what I mean? And being willing to see, like this Tesla, I should have just kept taking that short. You know what I mean? It kept saying, I don't want to go long Tesla. And then what did I do? Where did I mess up? Trying to go long Tesla. So it's all good in the hood. Which reminds me, how's Robinhood doing? I literally just said that and was then like, how is it doing? This could get spicy. Like how I pulled this up just because I made a pun, but I think
Katina man was with on Hood all day today too. Yeah.
I knew he was on that. Yeah, I know he was long and then short. But so here's what I find interesting about this. Look at that bounce.
Like it.
1710. I don't know if I want to go long or short yet, though. I want to make that incredibly clear because we are in a bit of a downturn from that high at 1025. So with that in mind, he goes on the Steam side chart. Step aside, Intel. I have no room for you right now. Robinhood, sorry, Intel, I might want you later, but right now it's just not the vibe. Robinhood going on the side chart, going into my mind. I would like, if we keep projecting off that 9 EMA, that's where I go short. If we don't, I will go long here. There is a play for me. I don't know what that play is. Someone's excited, though.
Well, because it keeps breaking higher. Shout out to the Katina man. NVDA is on the way up, guys. 905 incoming here. It's about to break 905. Shout out to Oshawa and Whitby. I mean, it's a great move up. Let's go. The higher end of the pre-market range there was 908. We got a break of that 908 level on the IB high, got to 908.88, but generally that 908 level was in play all morning. The Katina man has now changed his profit taker to 906.60. He's taking it out there. So shout out to him. I love that's a monster trade. He's long 898, guys. So 906.60. The Katina man is going to take out the position on NVDA. It's a great move for. Here it is. $7. Hit it. Oh, I thought you were going to hit it 7 times. Hey, that's a lot more than 7, but it's all good there. Shout out to Sean, baby. Prince way higher than that 905.60 area. Big move up there. Now, what else is moving up on these here markets? All right, here we go. So Softy really recovering off that low, 410.82 LOD on MSFT. And here we go. Now we're knocking the door of 415. We broke above the volume weighted average price. We're at the closing print from Friday. So this is the resistance level that we could encounter. 414.75 is the closing print. So I always chart closing prints because they act as good areas of support and resistance. And this one is conflating with the 50 period here on the 5. I'm not going to just get in willy-nilly. It's going to have to prove to me that this is, in fact, a resistance level and show me some red candles. As my friend Neil likes to say, I'm going to get that on the backside. So it's going to show me its propensity to find weakness there and curl back down off Friday's closing print. Softy, good look there. And one other thing I wanted to mention is goggles. What the hell is happening here on goggles? 166 flat top breakout? Question mark? I mean, this is a fantastic look here. So the IB high takes you right into 166. So you already have something off which to chart, because we know these IB highs and lows often feature somewhere in the trading day as key areas of support and resistance, typically. And now we're getting this higher low, higher low, higher low, holding the 10 period like a glove, but can't seem to break through 166 on Google here. I mean, technically the high of the day is 166.21. You have a little bit above, a little bit below. So this could be interesting. It could be a flat top break, especially if we get some sort of good market strength. But keep in mind that Google is down 1.5% on the day, and that's not for no reason, because it looks as if, maybe their dominance on search a little bit up in question at the moment, as well as maybe this deal that they had possibly with Apple to incorporate Gemini into the iPhone. That could also be up in the air, as now we're hearing more about them making a deal with OpenAI. So all this unconfirmed, all this still speculation, but we can definitely comment about the price action right now, and Google is down 1.5%, whether you like it or not. So 166, definite area of interest right now on Google. Let's see how this resolves.
Yeah, that Google breakout, I got involved right before it broke. I got out right before it broke out, but that Google was a nice look. Congrats to anybody in that name. Also, Tesla, I feel like I'm yo-yo dieting with Tesla. We're up on the day, we're down on the day, we're up on the day, we're down on the day. But you know what? I'm okay with it, because there are no trades here, except for that accidental short that I got into, that I am like, I dislike my impetus for getting involved. You know what I mean? There was a reason for everything. I just wish that there had been a few less of them. But that being said, so I tried to get short Tesla, slightly larger size, and again, large for me, so still not huge. 172.36, because I thought, we're going to reject off 40s again. We didn't. I should have waited for the back end, but then this next time I did, because I said I knew I loved that 172.80 area. I've been waxing poetic about this all day, right? So I said, if we can't get there, Dara, this is the real short. Forget that 172.36 nonsense. This is what you want. So I got short. Risking into 172.80. We have not reached 172.80. I watched this a couple times, keep rejecting that 172.80. So probably as I say that, Tesla's going to be like, but, until it does, I'm okay staying with this. I want minimum 172.40s. I don't know if we'll get that, but that is kind of minimum what I want. That being said, I will always calculate. So whatever my minimum is usually pretty malleable. I'm willing to move it around, but I'm really happy I got back in this, because I think, and I've said this a lot, my best week by far since going live was my first week, but I was pretty much flat every day and I took no risks. I'd rather take risks and lose and learn than risk nothing, do okay, and not learn. So that's going to be my very poorly worded thesis of my life right now. Also, thank you so much to NurseWorks, becoming NurseWorks 2020, becoming a Trader TV Live member. We're so happy to have you here, NurseWorks. Hopefully, the trades are working as well, and you have some opportunities. Right now, Tesla, if you want to keep going to the downside, give me a call. Be fine by me, but right now, I think she's edging back up to the upside. I'm going to have to get a little bit scalpier. If I have to take things out of 55s, I can live with that. So we're going to have to wait and see what Mademoiselle Stressler does. You're in 2 trades right now.
I am. I'm in TUP. As we've been hanging out with this one, there is resistance here, you can tell, at 190. I haven't wet my beak on TUP because I've been, I guess, looking at these higher lows and saying, okay, well, maybe we can get something around $2. So that's kind of been my impetus to stay in the trade. We'll see if it ends up being the right or wrong idea here. But what I see is a series of higher lows, higher highs, no reason for me technically or price action wise to get out. So I'm trying to pack my patience. But, with these ones, yeah, look, it's moving up in sympathy with GameStop, but there's really no fundamentally sound reason that this should be up other than a squeeze and possible sympathy with another meme stock. So I am completely aware that the bottom could drop off at any time, and hence I have placed said stop in the right, or at least I think it's in the right area. Now I'm looking for the dead one to continue to range, and by the dead one, guys, I'm just joking. I mean Apple, right? I'm looking for it to range until that 1 o'clock time slot, and as a result, I took this range trade here, looking to wet my beak at 10s. We'll see if we get 186.10s is what I'm meant by 10s there. So I'm gonna keep my eye on that on Apple. The out here will be the break of the range. So the break is 185.76. If that range breaks and the trade is no longer accurate, in my opinion, other than that, I'm going to try to pack my patience with Apple. This other trade that I've had on for a while, and this isn't a trade, it's a dip order that has not triggered on NVAX. I am looking to defend that $12 level on NVAX. Reason being, there was an interesting area of resistance here at said crest into 12 that we rejected, broke down, broke into 11 1/3, and then moved up with the viciousness, as my friend Adara likes to say, and knocked on the door of 14. Technically, that's not the HOD, but essentially for all intents and purposes, it is. So 14 resistance on NVAX. I'm looking to defend 12. We'll have to see what we get on that trade. It hasn't triggered yet. It may not trigger. Up 40%. This thing's a monster. As I mentioned at the top, though, NVAX, not like Tupperware, AMC, GME. It had its own catalyst last week, but it is heavily shorted, so it is moving in sympathy with some of these meme names. So know that if you're going to trade NVAX, it has a catalyst, a sound catalyst from last week. I think they're getting a lot of money injected in their company or something to that effect. So look, back to this AAPL trade. It's now trading below 186. Again, I'm cognizant of the fact that it has put in lower highs. You don't need to be a chartered market technician to see this, but I still think that we could probably play the range, even with these lower highs on Apple, until that 1 o'clock time slot comes in and we get either a good or bad headline, maybe nothing, but I'm assuming it's going to be good or bad from the OpenAI event. So that's the look there. Tupperware coming back down now into 183. Can't really seem to break that 190 area. I'm going to pack my patience here. I just don't want it to go against me. So I think the break of 75, $1.75, is going to be my line in the sand on TUP. But I also want to mention this. So very weak to start the day is the Amazonian, but it's since got a second wind. Now, a nice move off that 185.5 LOD, and now it's not. Now it's knocking on the door of 186.25. It is coming into the 20, and I'm going to mention this, and I'm going to mention it again, and I don't care. The shallow retracements on the 5-minute with these large cappers seems to be coming into the 10 period. The deeper retracements often come into the 20. We just touched the 20. So look for a possible rejection of this 186.25, a 186.5, and then a possible move back down. Now, you don't have to make low a day off that 20 touch, but look for it to encounter resistance at 186.25, 186.20. That is the look there. All right. The dead one is not dead at the moment, Adara. It is on the way up. Nice move here on Apple. I knew that this would range a little bit. Let's see if we can wet our beak maybe at 20s.
Bite that apple.
Woo!
Bite that apple,
Woo!
Sharif. Shout out to you. Congrats to you. I have been staring at GME, and I kind of want to go short GME. And I say that, like, as I say that, we're kind of curl. But I liked that. Look at that range. Look at that rejection we had. And we rejected this for a good while.
And that's a halt level? Sorry, is that...
Oh my gosh, it's a halt level.
Yeah, you know how
okay, I actually think I might want some shorts on GME.
The Katina man is, he's in awe over what's happening there on Nvidia. I just want to mention this. $9 in the money on Nvidia. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, I think I might have to secure some shorts on GME because I actually, oh, never mind. I was gonna take it short into 29s, but you know what? Yeah, okay, I think may I have some shorts on GME, please? Thank you very much.
man will secure shorts.
I do not need that many shares. Honestly, I could probably have like a 10th of that, and that'd be more than enough.
Love it.
But thank you so much. I appreciate that. I want to try this.
Camp it.
Because why not? And so this is why I do like this level. It's something I want to try, and I think it could very much well go against me, but it's something, as more I'm watching it, the more confident I feel in it, at least to attempt it. So let's see what happens. I don't have to use them, but it's something I want to have the option to use. So thank you very much, Sean, for securing the bag. As Sharif secures the egg, getting some profits out in Apple, having his, the Tupperware, which actually ironically contains his eggs, although a knockoff version. So shout out to that right now. We're always trying to have a good time here. Also, I want to shout out Sean in the chat, Sean's little message about NVIDIA in the chat there, having NVIDIA ticker and another 3-letter phrase that describes what NVIDIA is doing there. So shout out to Sean, shout out to NVIDIA, shout out to anybody going long. Okay, we're going to get ready to go.
What does WTF stand for? Where's the force?
Yeah, well, I guess where's the floor? Where's the floor?
We're looking at said ins and outs, and Ooh. I mean, I love that. And the thing is about that, Sean, keep that up for a second. And I love that because it's conviction. That chart shows conviction. He's convinced about his levels, and every time his level comes in, he punches long. Shout out to you, Sean. Yeah, that was a resting order at VWAP. That was a resting order at VWAP. That last one, right? He was talking to Marissa at that time, which is the wife. So. That's why it's a good luck fill.
I love
Look at
that.
these guys dropping hot lines. I love it. All right, I'm done my Apple trade here at 15. So we took a nice little winner there on AAPL.
Thank you.
He said,
Thank you.
The Adara now has secured shorts on GameStop. So, oh baby, let the excitement begin. Shout out to Adara. I'm obviously cheering for you as I always do. Very happy that you're actually. You're doing stuff outside your comfort zone.
I am.
A lot,
This is very out my comfort zone. I got short and then GME popped like 30 pennies. So outside my comfort zone. Shout out to Sean though, getting long there. And you know what? I'd much rather take a risk than yeah, okay, maybe now I'm regretting that choice. But you know, I did like it. We were rejecting off it for a while, watched it for a while. I was aware of the risk going into it. And you know what? One of the things Neil said to me right as I started going live is like, you know, don't like not take risks just because you're in the live. You know what I mean? So I want to take risks. This could very well go against me. Currently it is. If we break above 50s, I'll get out here. Yeah, we're going to have to say bye-bye. But I had fun taking it. Happy I took it. I'd rather, you know, not just sit in the sidelines. I'm happy I got into the game. And then it was like, you know what? You're not trained enough. This is the NFL and you were a Pee Wee football player. Go to the bench. But I still tried. So happy I got it where I did. Honestly, happy to take that trade. And I'm not going to be, you know what I mean? I'm not going to lose sleep over it. We managed it okay. Where's the next trade? And thank you, Sean, for getting me those shorts. Appreciate that. And shout out to you for that long, because you're like $2 in the money right now. So congrats to anybody going long GME. I'm just happy I got out where I did, you know? So please just punch. That's what you got to be. Thank you so much to Donnie Zimbabwe for the $4.99 super chat. I see it hanging around 443.20 on the QQQs. Have some of my calls left. What y'all think on its direction and your opinions? Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I'm just happy I got out of the GME where I did. Sorry, I'm just like... But yeah, so Qs, let's see how these Qs are going. You know, we had you said 443.20s? You have some calls left? Yeah, I think it's interesting. Right now, I think I don't know when these calls are for, but I know right now on the 5-minute, 443.20 to me seems a little bit like the top of the range to a degree that I actually want to go short on my TQs on that. But let me see here what we've got. We're still up on the day. Let me see on the daily chart what we've got 443.20s. Yeah, to me, this looks a bit like a top right now, that 443.20s. Again, this is just one person who is very new to chart reading as well. But yeah, I think right now, like we're strong on the day. I don't think we're going, you know, necessarily having a significant drop, but I think it is worth noting that's a bit of the top of this range we've had on the TQs. A little bit of resistance area. If we can break above it, I don't think that's a bad look, but I think right now it is worth noting both on the daily chart, it's a little bit of a top. We also had a little bit of a top as well on the 5-minute there, the top of that range at 443.20. But again, not advice, Donnie Zimbabwe, just my view of the chart. I do think it looks like it could be a bit of a resistance area. I want to talk about my GME trade one more time as well, because I know some people are saying, you know, that was a bit more of a gamble than a trade. I'm not sure I agree with that. And I want to say why. I understand that it was risky, but look at that resistance we had. Now, mind you, we did have these wicks coming into that 29 area, and I will admit that. But also, we had a range as well.
Absolutely.
And so, you know what? As much as it did go against me, I'm still happy I took it, because I don't think it was, you know, as much as I think it could have been viewed as a gamble, I don't think it was a gamble, because it was a level I really liked for reasons that I think we're kind of clear here, that continuous rejection. So was it perfect? No, but I mean, I would be more upset if I didn't take it. So I just wanted to address that. It looks a little gambly, but I do not feel like I mean, look, we got out.
I don't think it was gambly at all. You had a level, you got into level, it went against you, and that's it. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. That's why I didn't, you know, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, or like, you know, beat a dead game controller in this case. But I really just want to talk about that, because I think sometimes you have to take risks, and I liked what I had. Yeah.
All right, guys, it is now time for Neil's lesson of the day. Send it over to him, baby.
Welcome to the lesson of the day, and this should be an obvious one because you got to make it related to what's going on in some of the meme stocks today. So I thought we'd talk about halt trading, or at least, you know, what happens during a halt and how you can take advantage of it. For anyone that doesn't know, when you have too quick of a movement in a stock in too short of a time period, you have circuit breakers that'll go off and the stock will get halted for 5 minutes or 10 minutes on the NASDAQ or the NYSE, or over in formerly the AMEX, the NYSE ARCA markets. So that is standard across the board. And usually it's 5-10 minute halts. You have an auction just like the open for a stock to then resume trading. And if you think about what's going on here is you have too little liquidity and too much crazy price action, and they're just taking a breath for the stock to calm down and find a market. Now, usually when a stock is being halted, it's probably trading in a way that it wasn't before. It's trading at levels that it wasn't before. So you might not have traditional entries or strategies that you can take advantage of. So one of the things that we look for are halt entry trades, which I'll get to first, and then using halt prices to your advantage later on to try to make scalp trades after the stock has calmed down. So the first things first, when it comes to a halt entry trade, this is probably one of the riskier things that you can do, because when a stock gets to the halt band, now GameStop was up a bunch, but when it dipped at the open, it fell all the way from 27, put in a move down into 25. At that point, it was underneath that 25 level, burst right into, it was 26.89 was the exact price. At that point, it immediately hit a halt band. So when 89 is a halt, you have 89 on the bid, and it cannot print above that price. It cannot print the 90s. You can only get hit on the bid. And if it doesn't go down underneath that 89 level, in 15 seconds, the stock is going to go into a halt. Now, the only way to get long in there is to actually bid on the 89. Now, you run the risk of, if it gets filled, that bid could get taken out. It's ridiculously volatile. The stock was just at $25. So for myself, if I'm looking to take that halt with the idea that it could just go absolutely nuts, opening higher and give you free money, I'm putting that bid in there, but I immediately have a tight stop. Because if it doesn't halt, I understand that it could just drop right under, be at $25, and I'm not looking to risk to there. So the first things first is I have to have myself an out. Now, I happen to put it just underneath that 89. I don't like giving it too much room. Sometimes I would put it at 88. In this particular case, I think I had it maybe 10 or 15 cents lower. It doesn't matter. I was going to get right out if it didn't go into that halt. It did. Now, for myself, I like to do this where I'm taking some out at the open because I'm expecting a gap up. And then the first push up, the first dollar, usually I want to take some out. And at that point, I'm trying to hold for another move higher. It ended up trailing me out there. But the idea with that trade, and keep in mind, you are taking a top-level break. In some ways, it's kind of like a breakout trade, except you're getting filled and then hoping that it's essentially going to open higher. This is a much better play if you also have, like, just imagine you had a top up here on Friday that had the same level. I've only seen that a couple times. We have a double top on a daily or a double top on a 15 or 3 minute from the day before, and it's also a breakout level. That would be even better. At that point, I'm usually not taking anything out early because I'm expecting a bigger move. But just remember, if it does not go into a halt, you run the risk of getting rug pulled. So I would never do this without a stop. I think the safe way to play this is to have a stop in there. And AMC's at 35, so I'm going to get some out there. Sorry, AMC's breaking higher as well. GameStop, after that halt upside, we're kept on going. And remember, Sean Bad Boy's in there with the 23 long, which if you have the dip buy, you can then withstand a halt down because you're in the money 10, 15, 20% at the open, regardless, depending on when you have it. But once it goes into like uber halt mode that you don't want to chase, the halt levels can be your guide. They're like liquidity points. It's the price at which, if it closes at a halt price and then reopens at the same spot, closes at a halt price, reopens around the same spot, it can be a nice little indicator. Now, when it starts to really go parabolic, I don't love them as much, but you could have had this one marked off as well just to see if something happened. But once it came back in, let me ignore this level, let me get rid of that line. I had that for my own purposes before. 31.65 was the first level where you had a halt and reopen. It tries to hold that, immediately fails. There's nothing to do there. Then the second halt price where you had nice little confluence. You had it's halted in there at 29.40. You then came right back in and held that. On the bounce, this is where you can look to trade off of these. It holds on two separate candles in the 3 minute. That's right at 29.60. Once you see that double bottom, break back through that 30 level on this candle, or maybe you like a 30.50. Great risk to reward trade. It goes into an upward halt, so maybe you could hold some more. Then look what happens as it tries to come back in. If you use that support level for a dip buy, then you're out before this stock halts. Now, ultimately, I don't like going back to the well a second time. Once you've used the halt level, I just give it up at there and look for the next one. This is where it gets tricky because that 26.89 halt price, it never really tests. I think you have to be willing, if you're trading off of the very first halt price, to try to grab somewhere on that bounce and give it wider room. Now, I would argue that if you have 28 and you're giving it to 26.89, it hasn't truly given you the home run trade yet because I think you almost want it breaking 2 to 1. But look at how well the original halt level has treated you. The very first halt of the day, the very first breakout price of the day, and it is still support. In a case of a GameStop here, sometimes it can be better than VWAP. And I'm saying that because I used VWAP, and then after it bounced, this is part of the reason I wanted to use this as a lesson of the day. I was using VWAP. I'm like, yeah, well, do you like it that much? No, I should like that original halt price where we had the one big trade anyways, and then use that as your entry point. If it dips down underneath, I think you go into that well, that 26.89, just throw your stop underneath. It gives you a good risk to reward underneath VWAP when everyone else is in at like 29. They can be getting out and you're just getting in off of your support level. One last thing, because I wanted to show you guys another type of halt scenario that you can pay attention to, something like a COS. Now, the easy thing when a stock is trying to go halt up, looks like it's going to be good, halt up, when you have one of these types of candles where the stock opens up, immediately fails a halt breakout price, and halts to the downside, well, just flip it in reverse. That is a rejection of the breakout. All the chaos is now gone. And when this opens back up, that halt level becomes a resistance level on COS. Now, on top of that, if you're trading COS, it's sympathy to GameStop. Everybody understands that. So if GameStop starts breaking out, you can always get away from this trade. But that halted down at 480. It opens back up here at 430. Look at the test right underneath that 480. It double taps it in the 70s. Again, this is a sympathy play to GameStop, so you do want to be watching GameStop when it happens, but it gives you that short back into the halt price. You don't have levels oftentimes when you're trading around these halts. So what you can do is look for specific setups. In this case, it failed immediately after the last halt, so you're probably thinking short in the first place. Second part is, if GameStop is starting to come back even a little bit, which it was, you're probably thinking short cost again. Then it shows you the halt down price that you can use for resistance. It gives you 3 good reasons why you can play that to the south side. With cost, you would have had to pay for locates. But the key here is there are some simple strategies where you're not necessarily trading the halt, but you're using the halt price as a de facto support and resistance area. And then you can use that to your advantage when these meme stocks or these squeeze stocks are going crazy. You have something in your toolbox that gives you a little bit of extra confidence to trade off of because you might not like VWAP or whatever moving average you happen to use when you're trading some of these names. The halt bands, the halt prices give you just a little something extra that you can trade with. That's your lesson of the day. Good luck out there. They're crazy to trade, but you don't have to be involved in the halt to use those levels to trade more traditionally and get those gains.
Yes, Neil, thank you very much. Informative and awesome as always. Adara didn't see that coming in. That kind of came in last minute there. All right, guys, as Neil was dropping hot lines, I did get involved in a newer trade. I'm talking about goggles. So Google is down 1.6% today, but it had been putting in a bit of an uptrend. Specifically, it had been holding the 10-period EMA on the 5-minute chart, and then it did a bigger boy retracement, and this came into the 20. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say this. The deeper retracements go into the 20, the more shallow go into the 10. So if you're looking to scalp something that's a bit stronger, maybe just have a resting order that shadows the 20. I don't know what the odds are on that, like what kind of hit rate you're going to have, but for me, it seems as if it's a good bet. So anyway, we wet our beak there nicely on about 15 pennies there on goggles. Off that, I'm long 87, so decent move here. Let's see if we can continue through 166. We're having trouble now with 166 as we come down into 87 again. So right back into my entry again. On goggles. Let's see how this one resolves. It does look like it probably wants to go down here as it is hugging now that 20-period EMA. I'm going to let this one go for a little while longer. It did wick off that and come right back up. But as I was also watching Google, I started watching Meta. And Meta was put in a beautiful rounded bottom. I'm going to get out of this Google trade because I have to concentrate on the next lesson. But I want to show you guys this Meta rounded bottom. So we had a big move down on Meta. It was uninterrupted there off the open, and we got into 462.85. Then we got a nice move up into support level 1 on pivots. Reject that. Come back into support level 2 on pivots. Yes, it is ranging between pivots today, and I won't be convinced otherwise. So there is your, it opens up at the pivot point, it rejects at support level 1, and then it bounces off support level 2. Here we go into the 50 period moving average at 469. Let's see if this one rejects at the 50. It hadn't featured with the 50 earlier, but it's something that I always look for to see if something is going to reject. And if it does reject off that 50, off that 469 and change, and then start curling back down, I definitely will be looking short, maybe into another 465 and 2/3 touch, which is where it bounced off last time, which is support level 2 on pivot. So we'll keep eyes on META. Hopefully I'll have eyes on it before the lesson is over. Thanks for that, Neil. I appreciate you. But no worries there. So keep your eyes on that. Now the market is at 18.3, but it's not at highs. So the reason I was mentioning that is because I started seeing some stuff curling here. Amazon start to curl again. Softy's been curling. Apple's curling up. Apple's 13 pennies off day's high. So I just figured, the market might be a little bit higher, but yeah, we're not. All right, let's get to the lesson du jour, baby, because we are talking about moving average crossover trades all week long. Today we're going to introduce the topic, and then we're going to get into the more nuanced variations of the trade. So welcome, traders. Today we're diving into the world of moving average crossovers, a powerful tool for identifying trends in the market. But before we jump in, let's establish that foundation. So moving averages, we're going to recap them. So imagine a line smoothly following a stock's price chart. That's a moving average. Essentially averaging a security's price over a chosen period, like for example, the 50-day or the 200-day. That's what we're talking about. The longer the period, the smoother the line typically is, reflecting longer-term trends. Shorter moving averages react faster to price changes, capturing shorter-term trends. So there is a use for all of these, the longer and the shorter. And yeah, that's shorter-term trends. There you go. And then you'll be able to see them here. The 200 is the red line. You'll see it has the least amounts of peaks and valleys, followed by the 50 with the second least peaks and valleys, and then the 20, it's like a gong show, up, down, and up to the side and everything like that. So it reflects the more short-term end of the trend rather than long-term end of the trend. So the power of the crossover. Now the magic happens when these moving averages cross paths. Here's where the trend identification comes into play. We'll talk about two important examples of these crossovers. The first one you may be familiar with, called the golden cross. So this bullish signal occurs when a shorter term moving average, like the 50-day, for example, crosses above the longer term moving average, like a 200. It's suggesting to you a potential shift in power with short-term, bless you, Ram, with short-term momentum taking over and a possible uptrend on the horizon. So I'll show you what this looks like in a second, but all you really need to understand is the shorter moving average crossing from the south to the north side over the longer term. The one that we typically use, the one that's most used, is the 50 and the 200-day. And so when the 50 crosses above the 200-day, we call that the golden cross. Conversely, when the moving average crosses down, the shorter moving average crosses down below the longer one, we call that the death cross. So brace yourselves, because this one signals a potential downturn. It occurs, again, when the shorter term moving average dives below the longer term moving average. This suggests to you weakening short-term momentum and a possible downtrend developing in the works. And there it is. This is the golden cross. So you have the blue line is the 50 and the black line is the 200. You get a break of the 200 by the 50 right there. Now, it's not that simple. We're going to talk about what else to look at when you're looking at these crossovers, but that is in the lessons to come later this week. In this chart, we see the death cross. The 50 here is depicted as the orange line, the 200 as the blue, and you can see there was a big boy Huadunk that came into play once that 50 crossed below the 200. If you're a newer viewer, Huadunk is basically a big boy move down, and it was a noise I made one day, and it kind of just went.
That's where it came from?
Yeah, it was me and Luca. All right. There is also room for the smaller moving averages, like the 10 and the 20. It's not just about the 50 and the 200. We're specifically talking about the double moving average crossover. So this strategy uses two short-term moving averages, like the one I just mentioned, the 10 and the 20. When the faster moving average, the 10 in this case, crosses above the slower one, the 20, it can signal an earlier entry point into a potential uptrend and vice versa in a downtrend. However, you should be very cognizant that these signals can be more frequent because they are shorter term, 10 and 20 days, and more prone to false positives due to the shorter time frame. So if you're going to use them, they're great for entry points. Employ them with good effect if you can, but you have to be cognizant that the false signals will be more frequent on shorter term moving averages than they will be on the longer ones. That's just part and parcel of the trading game, baby. Putting it all together. So remember, crossovers are just one piece of the puzzle. Here are some tips to solidify your trend identification strategies. Confirmation is key, baby. So what do we mean by that? Don't base your decisions solely on crossovers. Look for confirmation from other technical indicators like RSI, stochastics, and the like to gauge momentum and identify potential overbought, oversold situations. We are not talking about incorporating RSI, MACD, and stochastics today, but I promise you we will be incorporating them with the moving average crossover come later this week. So you'll be able to have that confirmation check beside your trading strategy with moving averages. And price action. So putting it all together, we're looking at confirmation with other technicals, but we also want confluence with the price action. So price action confirmation strengthens the crossover signal. Look for breakouts, for example, above key areas of resistance or below key areas of support. Are the breakouts and the crossovers happening at important areas, or are they happening willy-nilly at a random place in the chart? Doesn't mean that they're not right if they happen at a random place, but it adds more credence to them if the crossover takes place at a key area of resistance that hasn't been broken. 200 on Apple, for example. Okay? So look for the price action to conflate with the crossover. And remember, while powerful crossovers can sometimes be misleading, especially during volatile periods, they might generate false signals or whipsaws, as they're called, where prices reverse shortly after a crossover. And this is one thing that I really want to point out. If you're going to use these mechanical trading strategies like moving average crossovers, you need to understand which markets they do better in. And they don't do well during consolidative markets because you often have multiple false signals, crosses above, crosses below, crosses above. You're moving sideways. So it stands to reason that your moving averages are also going to move sideways and show you false signals. However, if you're in a trending market with obvious higher highs and higher lows, that's where the crossovers really shine. They do well in trending markets. They don't do that well in consolidative markets. Shout out to John J. Murphy and his book. That's where I'm getting this information from, okay? And here is a look. Again, this is the bullish crossover. So you have the 50 here is the blue, the 200 is the red, and you have that bullish crossover there. And look at this, the RSI entering bullish territory. So you're looking, we're going to, again, talk about this in the upcoming lessons this week, but you're looking for confirmation from these momentum indicators like RSI, MACD, and stochastics, for example. So this is perfect example. And then you have the bearish crossover over here, and you have RSI coming back into that. It's not bearish territory because it's right at 50. Bearish would be below 30. But that's the entire point. So you got to keep your eye on these RSIs. Again, we're going to talk about that later. The takeaway, mastering moving average crossovers takes practice and a healthy dose of skepticism. Don't rely on them too much. Always be skeptical about. They're not price action. They are indicators. And therefore, there may not be resistance or support at that level. By understanding the golden and the death crosses, exploring variations, and incorporating confirmation techniques, you'll be well on your way to identifying trends with greater confidence. And as a bonus challenge for you guys, test your newfound knowledge on older charts or in the sim to see if you can identify these death crosses and golden crosses. And remember, paper trading allows you to experiment without risking real capital and to figure out exactly what kind of trading style you want to have.
Yeah, speaking of risking real capital and paper trading, just gonna go also transition this. I had a moment. I accidentally fat fingered into GME, and so now it looks like I am, shut down. So that was fun. It happened. Thank you, Sean, for communicating as well with that, because I was pretty sure, but I wasn't. Yeah, appreciate that. You know what? You live and you learn.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not, you know what? And the thing is, I probably would have been fine had I not fat fingered into this, like with a large amount of shares. By the way, Nvidia.
Oh, my God.
$10 in the money.
Good call, homie. That's a really good call, because that's not an easy trade to take. Good call on you for Sean.
Yeah, shout out to Sean.
I'm gonna talk to Adair about this on the recap.
Yeah, I want to talk about it, because you know what? I'm not going to sit here like, you know, a little boy blue or whatever, I'm in green, but that's not the point. The point is you live and you learn, and you know what? Never gotten done now before, so this is going to be, there's a first for everything. And I'm going to take this as a learning opportunity. And it's all part of the game. I'm going to get my sim set up, which, as Sharif and I both know, is a little bit more disorganized. So we're going to maybe have to get, and I mean that quite literally. The charts are all a flutter. But yeah, going to get back, as Christina Aguilera says, back to basics. How are you doing?
If I could have a dime for every time I was shut down on this floor, I'd be very, very wealthy. So yeah, you're not alone in that, Adara. Shout out to you, and I'm sure you'll absolutely learn from that. No worries.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, we're breaking above 18.3 on this future here, and it could have something to do with the monster being at higher days. Yes, I'm talking about you, Nvidia, knocking on the door of $910, $909.98, breaking through pre-market high. It is absolutely skyrocketing off that 885 touch. Katina, man, this thing moves $25 in a day. Like, that's just ridiculous. We have this level here from Friday that we need to be cognizant of. That's that 914 HOD that we printed at around 9:45 in the morning, so it could be considered the IB high. There, that's 914 exactly, 914.01. Alas, the closing prints are all south of 912. Look at both these closing prints here, 911.80. We also have this resistance level one on pivots at 911. I'm not going to use that because really Nvidia hasn't been kind of straddling the pivots in the way that Meta has on the day. So we'll keep eyes on both those. Anyway, Apple printed another high a day, as I was talking earlier, 186.50. In about 27 minutes, we will have the launch of that OpenAI event. Is it going to be on YouTube?
I'm going to have to look for that.
We're going to have to
I've
look,
been having some issues with my Unity, so unfortunately I cannot narrate the event, but I'm going to have it up for sure and keep an eye on that.
Sounds good.
And I will try to find a way to do that. I am back in the sim, and I really need to switch up my sim side charts so they're prettier, but yeah.
You
just
do your thing. I'm still yapping. I can yap.
I'm still yapping.
No, seriously though. So look, there's a good chance that Apple starts moving at around 1 o'clock. I don't know exactly what the format of the comp or the whatever the event is going to be, or there's going to be a keynote by Altman right away, or what, we don't know. So we're going to find out 1 o'clock. Make sure that you're aware of that. You need to be aware of it for Softy, for Google, and for Apple. All those have implications with this news headline, okay? Now, Google's done real well here. I'm really disappointed that I got out of my Google long. I was long 165.87 before I started doing the lesson, and now we just broke through the $0.25. So goggles looking like it absolutely held to the T that 20-period retracement. I'm going to say it every time, and I don't care how boring I get. The deeper retracements on a trending stock come into the 20-period EMA on the 5, the more shallow hold up on the 10. That has been my observations for quite some time. Hopefully I can actually make money off that observation. But this one, you know, held it to the T right there. Still down 1.5% on the day on goggles. That is as a result of that news headline that Apple's going to be teaming up with OpenAI and not incorporate Gemini as possibly was announced, I think not last week, that it was a possibility, not that it was going to happen. So yeah, there's probably a lot of money in that. We know how much Apple pays Google, or how much Google, excuse me, pays Apple for default search. It's 20 billion, right? They pay them 20 billion a year. Goggles pays Apple 20 billion a year. It's like in the vicinity of 20 billion. So there's a lot of money here that, you know, to be made from this deal with the AI. And again, we're assuming it's going to have something to do with Siri. Anyway, let's look at AMC here, Ram, because AMC's been doing things. And again, look at these deeper retracements on AMC coming into the 20 and then bouncing off the 20. Right now, AMC's been dancing with the 10 period for a little while, ever since putting up that 437 top. This one is not retracing and giving back the move like some of these other ones have. Like, look at KOSS. Who remembers KOSS? I do, because I saw this trader take it for over $100 a share live back when this was moving. Anyway, so this moved up big there in, I don't want to call it the pre, it was right at the bell actually, got to 550, and we've retraced the entire move right back where we started. So AMC's not doing that. AMC is actually holding up near highs. So good look here for AMC, and we'll see if we can get something in on it. I'm assuming $4 is going to be a good area to get a dip trade. Couple of reasons. One, you have a crest here at $4 that you rejected before you dipped into 360 and then finally broke 4. That's number one. Number two, we just finished yapping about the 20 period and how it's a better area for retracements, for the deeper retracements, and that's sitting right at the $4 area. So AMC's looking real good here. I gotta tell you, for a possible dip and pop off this $4 area. So let's go ahead and load AMC on these side chart, or not side charts, these actual trading screens over here. And AMC trades on the New York. So let's go ahead and put an order for our friend AMC here. I'm going to put it out at 03 because what is life without whimsy? What if I get filled? If I get filled, if I don't, I don't. Too bad. We shall see. You good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much for the patience there. Like you said, I can yap. I enjoyed that. Also, I did put the link to the OpenAI event in the Google Swap. You're gonna have to see what Sam Altman and co are dropping there. Also, yeah, I am currently in AMD. You're looking at AMP. I'm looking at AMD. So funny how that works out. I like this range play. I'm trying to take this. Initially, I was gonna wait till 35s. Then we get to VWAP and we bounce. I say, you know what, Adira, switch it up. Currently in the sim as well, I want to clarify, we did get shut down, but I'm going to use that as a learning opportunity. We had some fat fingers. I had a fat finger in Tesla this morning and also a fat finger in GME, which even though I am obviously, not live anymore, I want to talk about that trade because I want to explain what happened. Because I basically got long. I was watching and I said to Shreve, I was like, now I feel like we're kind of bouncing off 30, right? Because initially I took 30 as the short. So I got involved around 30.50s and we were holding up 30.50 with the 30-35 support beautifully. So you get below 30, I want to get out. I use the wrong button. I add to the position. And then that's how I got shut down. You know what? It happens.
Feel you.
It happens. And it's all you have to do to that is you have to say, you know what? I'm going to use this as a lesson. And so that's why I'm honestly, in a way, happy I had the opportunity to take this in front of people. GME is certainly, it's a unique little dude. And we say the fun never stops. Unfortunately, in GameStop, for me, the fun did stop. But it taught me a lesson. So I just wanted to take a moment to reflect on that. Got the next day, brush that dirt off your shoulders, keep climbing, keep going. Boop, 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 boop. Also, shout out to Ahmed Amwala, Durham, $10 here. Oklo, love it for long term, looking good for me. OKLO. Let's take is this on the NY? Let's take a look at this one. Definitely, this is a ticker that I've heard before, but I know little about. So let's do our research here on OKLO, Oklo Inc. Oh, right, this is the one that Sam Altman, okay, so this de-SPAC'd on Friday.
Is that
the Sam Altman company?
Is that the one that creates fusion? Fusion reaction?
Yes,
Oh,
that
yeah,
one,
he's talking about that. Yeah, that's going to be big.
This one getting a nice play from its brother's ChatGPT, I keep calling the company ChatGPT, but it's OpenAI. So Oklo's brother or cousin or blood relative, OpenAI, having its event today. Not seeing any specific news in Oklo. Some people are saying that it could be an overall meme stock thing. Yeah, hard to look at here on the daily chart, but that's a nice look there for you. Shout out to Ahmed. And I think, yeah, with all of the Sam Altman goodwill is very strong right now, especially with that iPhone. And I think as much as that could be good for Apple, that could also be good for ChatGPT.
Oh, 100%.
Because I think that gives, or I keep calling the company ChatGPT. The company's OpenAI. But I think it could open some AIs to the company if you're involved in Apple as well, right? So I think that's a great look. I really enjoy that. Right now, my AMD just chopping and turning. But yeah, this Oklo is a nice look. Let's take a look at it in the 5 minute, because I know you mentioned long term, but we can take a look at it in the 5 minute. Right now, we're bouncing off that 9 EMA. It's a nice look. I shall check on my pal AMD, because we're gonna have to check on that. And yeah, I'm just happy to still be here trading. You know what I mean? Every day is gonna be an adventure, and that's what's great about these here markets. What adventure are you taking in the movie theater?
I'm trying. We're trying to get this 4 dip to defend the 20 period and the whole dollar. Alas, the order has not come in. It could come in now though, because now we're printing 07s. I'm hanging out at 03s. Look, this is not a hard science, guys. So the fact that I'm trying to front run $4 at 03s could mean that I miss it. Maybe I got to go to 05s or 06s, right? I'm seeing these bottoming tail candles come in through the 10 period on the 5 right now. So I'm going to try to be frugal, but that's pinched me in the rear end a couple of times, this frugalness, because sometimes you just got to get in. All right, so that is what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at AMC. I see you guys talking about GME in the chat, talking about the 50 period. I see it as well. The 50 period has held on the 5. You had an initial hold over here at least from 10:50 to around 11. So this is 15 minutes worth of holding, but you had the real move at the 50 here from 11:30 essentially till 12 o'clock. You held that 50 period quite well. So if it does make it back into that 28.5, I mean, we'll discuss at that time, but I still feel that this is what Adara said. This is essentially a range trade. 27.5 to the bottom, 31, 30.5 to the, and now it is getting a little bit wider. Right? I mean, like, look at this candle over here. You could have used that as your border, saying 31. Well, this one made it a little bit wider. It took you to about 31.5. So we'll see with GME. If it comes back down into that 50 period, I could definitely be persuaded to get long, but I'm not getting long. AMC, man, it's holding up at these levels, and it's holding up without me. So I'm not going to get long at these levels. I want my dip trade, and if I don't get it, then I don't get it. Simple as that. All right, the other stuff that's happening. So I missed these trades here. This is on me. We mentioned Meta at the 50 period, and it did come into the 50 period at 469 and curled down beautifully. You could have had another almost $2 off that 467.5 a third, or general thereabouts did hold up, but that was the bottom off that nice 469.5 rejection off the 50 period there. META still putting in higher lows though, so watch out for this one. This one's compressing because you did get a lower high, but you also got a higher low. So this kind of looks like a really, really big bull or bear pennant with lower highs, but also higher lows there. We'll see what we get with Meta. Amazon also curling back in. I see Apple at high days, but that's a different trade. So we'll get to that one in a sec. Now, this one is curling off the 20 period a little bit here and did break the 20 period. So this one didn't strictly hold to that deeper 20 period retracement rule that I'm trying to concoct in my own mind. But this basically is coming right back down again. So it's doing a rounded top. So this could be another down move here for AMZ. It's only down 0.78%. It's not had a big down day, even though the chart looks awfully negative. We can get a bigger move here for AMZ, and I could be definitely persuaded to punch short into the Amazon at these levels. Yes, this is the Apple move. As I did want to mention this, this $0.50 break here came in pretty aggressively. I'm not going to trade this until 1 o'clock. So this is obviously people jumping in ahead of the move, 186.77. Now it looks like we are going to come into that level that we talked about from a few days ago on Apple. That is that 187 resistance level. Here it is. Where the hell is it? Hold on. Half an hour? Yeah, here it is. Okay, I was on the wrong time frame. This 187 level, this takes us back to the highs on May 3rd and the high on May 2nd. One was in the aftermarket when we got news of, I don't know, I forget exactly what it was that day, them making their own chips or something. And then on the open there, the IB high took us into almost 187. What was that high? 187.04. So if 187 comes back in again, keep your eye out for resistance on AAPL at that critical 187. Do you know that that's the code for murder?
Oh, yeah. We go to 187.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I remember Neil's like mentioned that last time. He's like, that's quite an ominous number. Right, anyway. So 187, AAPL, keep your eye on that.
Yeah, that Apple and Tesla, who will get to 200 first battle that we were talking about. I know I said Tesla. Now I feel like Apple might get to 200 first. So that was a conversation we were having in the pre-market a couple, I think last week off camera. It was Sean, Sharif, and Obi and I saying, you know what, will it be Tesla or Apple first to get to 200? And it looks like you
What
guys,
did Obi say?
Obi said Tesla as well.
Obi said Tesla?
Yeah, Obi and I were both team Tesla and you guys were team Apple.
Is that right, Obi?
What would
200?
Apple or Tesla 200 first? Yeah, that's what I said too. Yeah.
I'm not talking Obi
but now
anymore.
I don't know because now Apple's got a nice leg up on Tesla, but I did initially say Tesla as well. Also, I want to look at Mara here for Gaurav, saying Mara making head and shoulders in the 5-minute chart. I don't know if it's a perfect head and shoulders because to me it looks like, you know, you've got this head here, but then you have like maybe a ponytail sticking out or something at this 1805. I totally see the shoulders though. Like look at these shoulders, 1785. That's a gorgeous look, Gaurav. Especially look where we have that rejection. That's right, VWAP. It's a great look. And then we have that nice clear area of support at that 17.6 we're breaking down below. I don't know if it's a perfect head and shoulders, but you know, no pattern is going to manifest perfectly either, right? So I will agree with you. There's a nice little rejection happening here. That VWAP rejection, if you got that, that was a great look. So shout out to you, Gaurav, for calling that out. That reminds me of the other name I thought looked head and shoulders-y today. And Rivian's like, Dara, what are you talking about? I initially thought this could be head and shoulders because we did have those beautiful clean shoulders at 1107 with that nice clean area of support at 1090 and the head of 1119. Now it looks like we're just kind of continuing to peter out. This actually could be decent short. This is kind of rangy. Don't mind if I do. I might have to okay, we're gonna try and go short at 11s. I keep forgetting, because my keys are set differently on the live in the sim. I am still in the sim, not still, well, I got back in the sim, and yeah, really, really proud I took a chance though. That's the biggest thing, right? So you gotta, you know, shake it off, learn from it. I can't believe we just quoted Taylor Swift there. But I also want to take a look at AMD because I'm proud of this trade. Got out a little bit early, but this was a range, wanted the range, took the range.
Oh, that's really good.
So really proud. This type of trading I need to do more of. And hopefully my opportunity to come back here, and I'm going to treat it as an opportunity. My opportunity to come back here and learn in the sim is going to hopefully teach me to grow, learn, and get better, come back the next day, be like, hey, market, who's laughing now? So, yeah, you know, you just got to look at things. You got to get involved and get ready to get involved.
Man, AMC's going without me, so I'm just going to cancel this dip trade to defend 4 because it's no longer valid. It's far too, you know, it cleared it by way too much. Now, what I'm looking at here is Amazon. So now I'm getting really interested in taking Amazon long. Now, I'm going to wait to see what it does with this candle. So if we have a new 5-minute candle to make a new high above and closes above this 186, I could be persuaded long here. But I want to see how this ends up rounding out. So it looks like a rounded top and that you could basically take this short, but it's the second rounded top because we had an initial one over here. So I'm hesitant to think that we're going to continue to print down on Amazon. Maybe I shouldn't be thinking that way. Maybe I should get short here and look for something as a stop above the 20 period because it is starting to curl right back down. So Amazon, I could definitely be persuaded to get short on, even though the market looks like it's defending these levels. It doesn't really want to break that far down below 18.3, but doesn't want to break above 18.3 by that much either. So I don't think we'll move that much down. Okay. All right. Well, I'll pack my patience with that. The other trade that I should probably tell you about is that 910 rejected on Nvidia. So whoever was smart enough to take that, the Katina man was long 898, and he rode that bad boy up for an $8 winner there. But look at this, 910 HOD. This is where he actually wanted to take it out originally. 909.98 HOD. And since that time, it's been curling down about $5 coming into the 20 period. So we'll see if it finds its footing around these levels. But I like this possible 904 area a little bit better. You had more interactions and more tops at this 903.50, 904 area. We'll see what Nvidia brings. Yeah, Softy does, I mean, sorry, not Softy. Amazon looks like it is putting a bit of a hammer candle right now. Let's see if it's able to break above this level on a closing basis. That could possibly give us a nice trade, at least in the VWAP here, into that 60 penny level. Yeah, I don't have too much, I'm sad to say, because I tried to get into some of these small cap gappers, the meme stocks, but they're all calming down on the day. I want to mention this one. I removed OUST, O-U-S-T, from my SAR chart because it broke down below VWAP, but CCLD is still the real deal, yeah. And the only thing about this one, Adara, is it didn't break the pre-market high at 2 2/3, but it's still holding above VWAP, and it's giving you good opportunities off that $2 area. That was an amazing dip trade. Anybody who took that $2 was did well. So CCLD continuing to do things. Let me give you the deets on this. $36 million market, 36 and a quarter. And the float, very small, 8.7 million shares. So quite a small float there. Not minuscule, but definitely small enough to get this bad boy parabolic. So Apple continuing to come into today's highs, and Meta bouncing off VWAP here. So I'll continue to watch this stuff, but I'm sorry, guys. I don't have a trade right now. I'm going to try to weasel my way into something.
That's too bad that AMC didn't let you into the movie. That's like a
I know, bro.
like a minute late and it won't accept your ticket?
I was 2 pennies
That's
shy, Adara. Like if I show up and the movie's $15, I come up with $14.98. You're not gonna let me into the movie?
right? Like, don't you do rounding? Like, come on. Also, though, you weren't let into the movie theater. I was not allowed into that R1. So we all, you know. And this was maybe me. We got into 11. I wanted $11. We got into 11 on the sell side. We never got there in the buy side. So I had to say bye-bye to my R1. So yeah, I guess I got RJ scared. I got scared out of the trade here. Not me, but I guess the market scared. That worked better in my head. And maybe not at all. But it's much like in the market, you have to take chances. You got to take chances with these puns sometimes too. But yeah, Rivian did not work out for me. That being said, hey, you know, with the call to range for the reason, if we bounce off 1090, I'm getting long. So I like that. I'm going to cancel that order now because I think the chances of me getting this are slim to none. Let's also take a look here at UV, the great hip-hop recording artist. Wanting to take a look at sound and SunPower. I know SunPower was killing it this morning because I was looking at that and Solar Edge because, you know, and one of the many waves of meme stocks moving, these solar names, SunPower is over 20% short float, got a nice move up. And to me, this is a beautiful chart. And I want to explain why I think that. Look at that 286 rejection, right? Look where we see support. That's right, 286. Now we're making these higher lows. Higher lows, the flattish top, trying to make the high of day. That's not at all a bad look for me. UV did great. Also, what's cool too is on the daily chart, we're coming to break. This is okay. I like this even more on the daily. I gotta say, look at this. You guys know how when I get excited about charts. Look at that resistance around the resistance is more around 290, but look at that 290 resistance, right? Then look where we see another little pop of resistance. Rejection. If we can break this level with the swiftness, that's a great look. And I think given all of the hubbub around some of these names today, there could be some nice moves. I'll also take a look at Soundhound for you, see if the hounds are baying to the upside. Let's see how Soundhound is soundhounding. This one to me, I am a little bit less excited about because SunPower was such a clean look. I would say SoundHound is a little bit messier. I think, you know, the dogs are not in an orderly line here. We did have the one thing I really like about this, we did have that bounce here off 548. Then we come to reject off VWAP, which is the same level. But with that in mind, I think if we have that break above VWAP, it's going to take a lot of oomph that I'm not really sure we have. And I say that because the fact that we're rejecting off this level that was previous support, it's also below VWAP, not a great look. That being said, we are kind of consolidating below VWAP. So if we break below VWAP, that could be a nice look as well. The other thing too that I think could be interesting, and why I don't have a clear read on this, because I think there's just as many catalysts that this won't go further as there are signs it could. Because look at this area we had here, a bit of rejection around that or resistance, whatever word you want to use, around that 544, right? Look where we're bouncing. That's right, 544. So the fact that there's resistance and support in both areas means, honestly, for me right now, this could be a bit more of a range until we break below VWAP. Again, not advice, just my take on a chart. And I mean, could be looking at this in a more biased way because I do fancy myself to be a range trader. But the fact that we are kind of bouncing between two earlier points of support and resistance, I think does add some credence to that analysis of the chart. Now, is there anything interesting on the daily? Not really. We're kind of near some gaps we had earlier, but to me, this isn't a huge look on the daily. I'm much more interested, though, in that tight little range that actually I would maybe even fancy taking. So nice look there. Happy to take a look at those charts. Fam wants to look at Hood. Shout out to you. Let's take a look. Oh, okay. I was mentioning this earlier and I didn't take it. Dang nabbit. Look at that. It's always funny when you're like looking at stuff earlier and you don't take it, right? So I said I want to see what we did at 7-Elevens, right? On Robinhood. I was looking at this way back when. Support, right? But look where we push up to and then resist. That's right. We're resisting at 1720. Look where we bounced, 1720. If we bounce again off 17, that's right. Someone's going long.
1328.
1728. Hey. Yeah.
Love it.
Hey, what's up? Hello, Robin.
Love
You're gonna
it.
bounce at this level again. I'm not.
I just need to give you like one like line or a couple of beats from the song, and you'll pick it up on it. I whistle in the morning sometimes, guys, right? And she'll pick up on what I'm whistling on in like, I don't know, a couple of notes. It's kind of crazy. Like it's fun and not crazy.
Yeah, no, I like.
You know what I mean?
No, it was funny too. I was hanging out once, and I remember some guy, like that song 93 Till Infinity by Souls of Mischief. And someone played like 2 beats of that, and then skipped the song, and I said that was 93 Till Infinity, right? He was like, How did you get that? Yeah, no, it was pretty funny. But yeah, I like small aspects of a song. Just like small aspects of a chart can trigger something within you and make you want to get involved to bring it back to the market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Broken finance. I know. It's like 1738. I was saying it because I saw 13 on her chart, but yeah.
On the chart.
Adara in the kitchen cooking. All right, baby. I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, we printed there on Amazon, guys. So I told you this was looking like a rounded top, and we took that bad boy on Amazon. I'm still holding the piece, so let's see if that roundy top continues to head down. I would have liked to have a better price, obviously, but that's not forthcoming at the moment. AMZN 185.43 LOD. You know, I don't anticipate printing a new lower day while we're just hanging out at 18.3s on the fuge. But if the fuge gives up VWAP, which is at 18.293, I think we could move down a bit more aggressively here on the Amazon and on some of these other names. Now, Apple is just uninterrupted to the high side. 186.84 HOD. The dead one ain't dead today, baby. It be up, and it be on the way up. Now, look, we know exactly what could happen here. The headline could come out of the conference, which starts in 3 minutes, and it could be a sell the news type event, right? It may not be what the market wants. It may be a very watered down version of what the market anticipates. So anything can happen here with the dead one Apple. Just if you're in long or if you're in short, I don't know why you'd be in short right now, but if you're in a position on Apple right now, just know that in a few minutes, things can change. Now, we don't really know how long it'll take for the news to hit or when the speaker that will, come on, who changes things, who says something that changes things will come on. But just like, these auctions that come on at 1 o'clock, expect some sort of delay. It looks like we're headed into 187. 187 is a key area of resistance, Ram, on the 30-minute going back to the 3rd of May and the 2nd of May. I'm going to keep talking about it because that is a local area top that we haven't been at since these 2 days here. And this was on AI News. You'll recall that moved in the aftermarket there at around 4:30, sending Apple well above that 180 resistance level that we had been kind of below for the time being. So 186.88 HOD right now on AAPL. Let's see exactly how high we can get here and what kind of move we get after the beginning of the conference. We are going to have it up. I know Adara has it up. It still hasn't started yet. She's got it up. I'm going to load it up on my side chart too. I'm going to see if I can actually listen to it in real time so we can actually give you what's being said in real time and not wait to see the manifestation of that news on the charts. So big event coming from OpenAI. Altman was doing the rounds on the weekend. Clearly, looking to create I don't know, not noise, but to create awareness around this new launch. We had heard last week that there was going to be a search engine that was going to rival Google's. He came out and said that that was no longer true. Now it looks as if maybe some sort of relationship or some deal here with the dead one.
Well, as you said as well, you know, Sam Altman on that All In podcast said some things about Apple, like, oh, the iPhone is, it's, you know, very different. And
yes.
that was an interesting interview. But yeah, I think so Sharif made the very astute point, because I watched it, I didn't make this connection. Sharif was like, you know what, kind of seems like he's showing his cards towards Apple a little bit, towards the iPhone. So I think that's a really interesting look there coming from Sharif. We just took a bit of a dip down here in these there markets, but as someone who is sim short, and I want to clarify, sim short Nvidia, I am pleased as punch for that. I'm trying to take $1 on this. I was risking into 906.70s. This type of thing, you know, I don't want to just be in the sim and not do anything, right? If I see stuff I like, I want to try trading.
Sure.
So that's the whole point, is practice, practice, practice. That's how you get to Carnegie Hall, says the old saying. Took $1 on Nvidia in the sim. Please just punch. Thank you, I appreciate that. Also, I don't know if you saw this, Rivian Millionaire firing shots here. I think you jinxed Apple by calling it dead, bro.
Hey man, there's gonna be a top somewhere midday. It just happened to come when I was talking well about it, or call it dead or whatever. Yeah, you know what? You guys know I'm invested. It's my biggest position by far. Now that Caterpillar's done as a trade, Apple is my biggest position. First only to Pandub. Pandub being the second position there. Oleg, it's been a minute since I've seen you, Oleg. Where you been at, man? Can you look at Fiverr? Looks like second leg to upside as short interest. Let's have a look at FVRR. Let me load up the side chart over here. Let's bring in the RSI one so we can have a look at the RSI as well. FVRR. Here we go. Let's look at this bad boy. What do we got? So we're up 8% on the day. Jeez. So we'll see exactly once this chart loads. It's not loading for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. Yeah, and it's all good. We have other charts that we can use. So let's move this. Oh, geez. Amazon just, oh man, it popped back into my entry. I should have went my beak there at 80s. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to get out of the Amazon trade. Yeah, just so that I can load up this monster.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this chart and I'm saying, Adara, why don't you trade like this in the live? I want to talk about this because I'm really proud of what I did here with Nvidia. We took that short at 906. Why did I take that short at 906? I was looking at my side chart and I said, this is kind of coming into that area of support earlier, around that 906, right? So I said, you know what, Adara? Take the short. And I was like, well, what am I going to use my risk? Well, then another area kind of came to play, and it's going to be that 906.70. So to me, the clearer bottom of this range, and also that pre-market area that we were bouncing off of. So I said, I like this. We got into 905, we got into 906.60s, and then rejected. So I said, I'm okay with that. And I'm really happy because this is the type of trading I need to do more of. And that's what I'm going to take away from this experience. Like the fact that I've taken 2 trades in the sim so far, and I've done better in the sim today than I've done since going live. And I think that's why I really need to take what you were saying last week, Sharif, to heart. And it's like, whatever worked for you, try to make that work for you. Also, that was not English, but you know what I mean. Like you have to.
I got you.
Yeah, if it worked for you before, why are you not staying true to that? Be true to your school. Like you would to your girl or guy. Shout out to the Beach Boys. But you have to stay true to your trading style and let your colors fly and become the type of trader that you see yourself as being. At this point, I sound like Yoda. With that in mind, Mira Murati, CTO of OpenAI here, chatting about ChatGPT-4 releasing their newest flagship model. Oh, so it's GPT-4o, apparently. Yeah, this GPT-4o. Here's Mira Murati talking about that. So we're going to have to stay tuned, see what's happening here. It's apparently a faster version. So we're going to have to keep an eye, see what's happening here. I've got my Benzinga open. I have the stream open as well. Looks like she's speaking out of Urban Outfitters, something that's a very nice little area at which they're having that meeting. Ramin's laughing because I'm right. It looks like an Urban Outfitters. But yeah, so some of these, Nvidia getting a bit of a pop here. Pardon?
No. Do you know who this woman is?
Yeah, Mira Murati.
Yeah.
She's the CTO.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, she's a heavyweight.
Oh, yeah. No, no disrespect to her. I'm just saying that where they're shooting looks kind of like an Urban Outfitters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you get out of that?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm done. I'm done my Amazon trade. I've got it loaded up as well. I just want to see if there's going to be Apple news. But as we got that, Google just popped up here, guys, into 167. So there was that 166.50 top. Whatever reason, I don't know what it was, but we popped up bigly there and moved down on Apple and Microsoft, both moving down here. Softy, not by that much. Let's be real about it. It just dropped about 50 or 60 cents on a $400 name. The dead one, though, did drop about 30 pennies off that 186.88 top into the $0.50 now. It is trying to hold at the 10 period. Keep your eye on both the 10 and the 20 period. They have been, either one has been the area of support for Apple today. Neither one has been broken on a closing basis. You've gotten wicks below, 3 wicks here total below the 20 intraday. And obviously, the 10 prints were where it was holding up the majority of the time. Here we go again, now bouncing off the 10, coming into 186.60. But I got to tell you, Nvidia looks awfully weak at the moment. Yeah, this is really headed down here, guys. This 910 rejection, this could be an interesting move into 900. And the reason I say 900, a couple of reasons. One, it's 900. Number two, it's where VWAP is as well. VWAP's like 40 pennies or so above that $900 area. And pivots is at $900.24. So a lot of intersection at this $900 area. Very interesting here if we can possibly retrace into that down move there on Nvidia. So watch that. The future just took a big move down. So we were talking about 18.3 or thereabouts being this area range, a little bit above, a little bit below. Well, this is a lot below now, given that what we've done on the day. The majority of the prints have held above the 200 period. On the 5, down it goes. The future is moving down. Here it is, right into pivots again to break even point on the future is 18.254. So we're two points away from it. We're about to go red on the NQ on the day. I'm not sure exactly why we're getting this. Likely as a result of this conference here. We'll see exactly what we get. Big move down on the future. Adara finally giving some intraday range here to the futures. That's been awfully consolidative on the day.
Yeah, I tried to take advantage of that move. I noticed for a second we were bouncing up 903 Nvidia. I was like, cool, I like that. I want all the smoke. I get involved. And then it actually was working out for half a second. Then we fall. I'm like, cool. We break below 902. We'll get out. Yeah, guess who added to the position yet again, pulling another GME fat finger moment. It's all good. I'm actually flat on the day because of how we did earlier with that Nvidia. But I think it just goes to show, you know, like, triple check, and I'm saying this to myself, triple check your trades, Adara. When I say you, I mean me. Because today, after having a pretty decent track record of having no fat fingers in the sim, or sorry, since going live, I've had a total of 3, so that's pretty bad. But you know, you just have to take that, you have to learn from it. Also, apparently now they're gonna do advanced data analysis with this new ChatGPT 4.
Oh. So
that's nice. You can upload charts and tools and analyze information. It'll give you answers and so on, to quote Mira Murati there.
You know what would be awesome? Something that could like analyze charts for you.
I was just thinking.
Like throw in a chart, be like, where are the flat bottom breaks on this chart or whatever. You know what I mean?
Do you know
Ask
what
it
we
whatever
would call
question.
it?
What?
Chart GPT.
Hire this woman for whatever. She seems to have ideas any which way. Shout out to Adara. I love it.
That is the funniest comment I've ever heard, but thank you. So I appreciate I appreciate the kindness.
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
it was pretty.
you always have good ideas like that, like especially wording ideas. Guys, we're coming down into the soft one here at 414. So the entire market's moving down. I get that. So we're going to get moves down on all the Meg 7 names. That's not surprising, but we are getting some good support here at VWAP and at pivots for Softy. Keep your eye out on these levels. Apple has been fighting with the 20 over here. It did break below the 20, but look how quickly it got bought up. Now, we've had wicks below the 20 earlier during the more calm time of day. Now that the future's moving and we've got this conference on that everybody seems to be watching and the market definitely was waiting for, because all of a sudden this OpenAI conference comes on and the market starts moving here. So yeah, a little convenient. So we'll see exactly if we can hold above the 20 period here, and especially if we get some new news here on Apple with OpenAI, this could curl right back up and break through that 187 like it didn't even matter. So we're gonna watch. I'm gonna pack my patience. I'm listening to it as we speak right now. Mira Murati's dropping hot lines on the stream right now, so we're keeping that in check, and we're keeping tabs on that. So I'm watching Apple. I'm watching as well Softy at VWAP over here. Softy's right at VWAP at the moment. The Future is at break even as we speak. Nvidia bounced off 900 quickly there, got into 89, 899.50s, bounced right back into 901. But look at Amazon, man. Amazon cannot catch a break, and I closed my short way too early on that. This was a beautiful rounded top, coming right back down into the low of day. Again, I didn't think that this was going to come back into the low of day. All right, Mira Murati's done talking, and now there's two dudes coming on the stage. Yeah, Mira Murati.
Ramin laments.
So now she's talking to these two dudes. I'm not sure who these dudes are. We'll find out what they have to say, though, Adara.
They're Barrett Zof and Isaac Chen.
Eh?
I only know from subtitles.
How do you know this?
I'm reading their subtitles.
I was like,
Barrett,
wow.
Yeah, I wish I knew Barrett Zof and Isaac Chen, but I'm not on
Those
that
aren't even
level.
easy names to remember. Like,
well, Isaac Chen kind of, but Barrett
Isaac
Zof's
Chen's
the
super,
weird
yeah.
one. It's like Sophie, but with a Z and no fee.
Okay, Adara, apparently they're talking about the iPhone now.
They
so,
are. ChatGPT
make or
audio
break time now.
capabilities. Okay.
Here we go.
We got ready. We're ready to go. I'm going to keep this open. They're actually talking to ChatGPT. ChatGPT just talked back to Mark. So yeah, he said, I'm doing a live demo right now. Yeah, ChatGPT's talking to him. This is crazy. This is quite the look. We're going to have to keep an eye on that for sure.
That's amazing.
Also
I'm
an eye on
watching
these
it.
markets.
Wow.
They said, can you help with your nerves? And ChatGPT said, oh, you're doing a live demo? That's great. ChatGPT was having a conversation with him, guys. Like, this is actually kind of nuts. This is wild to look at. And then, like, Mark Chen was like, sorry, it's not Isaac Chen, it's Mark Chen. He said, should I take a couple deep breaths? And then ChatGPT's like, slow down, you're not a vacuum cleaner, Mark. This is amazing. ChatGPT for talking to Mark this is amazing. This is quite the look. He said he's going to try breathing more deeply. He and ChatGPT doing meditations together. Nvidia is hanging around this 900 that Sharif very astutely called out. Nvidia is bouncing off that 900 area. There's so much happening in this market today. Like, I don't know if I woke up this morning, did I think that we'd have a mini meme stock resurgence? All of these moves with this event with Apple and ChatGPT. Like, this is crazy. Let's take a look at the dead one, as Sharif sometimes calls it. Yeah, not dead anymore. This is a crazy bounce here. Look at bouncing off that 186.40 area. Why this is interesting too, this that top that we get 10.45, right? We come back at 12.30, chop around a little bit, pop up, and look where we bounce. That's right, 186.40. This is definitely a nice little level here on A to the A to the P to the L. We still have Mira, Barrett, and Mark sitting around this Urban Outfitters looking table right now. They are still talking right now. That's a really nice look. I'm trying to see if there's any other updates coming in to Benzinga so I can succinctly summarize this. But yeah, nice look there. Talking to ChatGPT, which is having a nice little conversation with him. So Shane W. saying this is probably lip synced and pre-recorded Milli Vanilli style. As much as I love that reference, we can't say that for sure, right? We don't know. But I did want to, I like that reference. And it does seem like, he's talking to it live. But again, we never know what happens.
That's like Baidu.
What happens.
Remember Baidu? They released the Ernie chatbot, and it was like recorded, and the market didn't like that whatsoever, and it sold aggressively. All right. Should we do the lesson?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right.
So wanted to make sure we had like the stuff going first. But yeah, we can get that lesson going for sure. And Sharif will let us know if there's stuff going on.
Absolutely, I'm listening to it.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So let's talk about. Also, I wish Sharif gets a great bite of that apple there.
I'm hoping.
AAPL.
I've got my stop through the break of 46, guys. So I'm going to give this one a little bit of room.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, we'll see.
So let's talk right now about moving average crossovers and trend identification. So today this whole week, we're gonna be diving into the world of moving average crossovers, which can help you identify trends in the market, but you gotta have to understand the foundations first, right? So moving averages, basically imagine a line smoothly following a stock's price chart. That's gonna be moving average, and it's basically gonna average the security's price over a chosen period. So 50 days, 200 days, etc. And the longer the period, the smoother the line, which can reflect a longer term trend. So shorter MAs will react faster to price changes, which can cause capture shorter term trends or shorter term movement. So here's an example here. You have your 200 moving average. This is very smooth. This is like a nice clean shave here, just a nice smooth move. A little bit more topsy-turvy though is gonna be the 50 moving average, which is this kind of purple black line here. As you can see, following the price trend a little bit more closely. Then you have this lime green line. That's gonna be your short-term moving average. You can see this one is topsy-turvy. Every time that price moves a little bit, so does in turn the 20 moving average. So that one's a little bit more reactive. So there we go. Also, let's talk about the power of the crossover. So the real magic is not what these moving averages do on their own, it's what they do when they create magic together. And this is when identification comes into play.
Bang.
So you've got your bullish signal, which is gonna be that golden cross, which will occur when your shorter term MA, par example, the 50-day crosses above a longer term MA, par example, the 20-day, right? And so that will signify a shift in power because you've got your shorter term moving above the longer term. That's like, hey, in the shorter term, we're in charge now. Bulls are roaring. I don't know if bulls roar. They're ready to go. They're ready to continue to the upside, and that's what the golden cross signifies and why you have to keep an eye on that.
What's the problem, Ram?
Ramin said, quote unquote, this is bamboozling me of the meeting. So yeah, it's really, I need to get my Unity working because I wish I could hear all this. But death cross as well is worth noting because this can signify potential downturns. This is going to be the opposite of your golden cross. You have your shorter term MA diving below your longer term MA. And that signifies, in the shorter term at least, the bears are taking over, they're growling, they're ready to claw some markets to the downside, and that's what that's gonna mean. You've got a weakening short-term momentum and a potential downtrend developing. So here's one example. You've got your golden cross, your 200-day moving average, la-di-da-di-da, and the 50-day is like, sorry, I'm gonna scoop in here. And then you have your golden cross, and look, the price action responds in turn. That's a nice look. Now you also have your death cross. That's when you have your 50-day moving average. You can see here, nice little upturn, la-di-da. Then it fails, quaduncan your 50-day moving average, and it crosses over the 200-day moving average. Now, of course, these are not going to be perfect on their own, but they're just nice little signals and potential markers of what's to come. Now, let's also talk about your double moving average crossovers. This is when you have two short-term MAs, your 10-day and your 20-day.
Yo, it answers math questions, and it like tells you step by step how to answer the math question while you're writing it. Yo, this is with the camera.
With the camera?
Yeah, look at Apple Go. That's why it's going, man. Okay, this is pretty cool.
I mean,
sorry to interrupt the lesson. I mean, I'm just kind of happy about this whole thing here.
Yeah, beak wetters galore, right?
Yeah, this is more like the long-term play, though. You know.
Oh, yeah, that's true too. I mean, it both works out for you.
Thank you.
Confluence.
Hey.
But yeah, shout out to Sharif and shout out to Barrett, Mark, and Mira having what looks like a great time over there.
They're having a jolly old time.
Having a jolly old time. But Ramin says she would like to be there. So I guess the show's gonna have to go on hold while she schleps it over to, I'm guessing, LA, where I'm assuming this is happening.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
But yeah, no, all jokes aside, yeah, shout out to
Silicon
Ramin
Valley
for always
probably.
killing it. Silicon Valley probably. But let's talk again back to these double moving average crossovers. So you have your two short-term MAs, so for example, the 10-day and the 20-day. And when your faster MA, in this case the 10-day, crosses above the slower one, the 20-day, it can signal an earlier entry point into a potential uptrend and vice versa for a downtrend. So if you have your 10 crossing below your 20, that's going to be a signifier of a downtrend. However, these signals can be more frequent and prone to false positives due to the shorter time frame. So it's the same thing we talk about when, as Sharif mentioned earlier too, when you have something on your 5-minute chart and your 15-minute chart, or your hour chart, like the longer the time frame, the more significant it's going to be.
Exactly.
That's the same with moving averages. These shorties aren't going to give you the same confluence and the same level of confidence you might have if you're looking at a longer term.
Did you call them shorties?
After I said that, I
love it.
But yeah, I did call them shorties.
All right.
We're all having a great time over here. But let's put it all together, right? You got to mix it all up in a big pot. Crossovers are just one piece of the puzzle. So if you want some more confidence, if you want to secure the bag, and I know someone next to me is securing the bag because I just saw him pump his fist there, you have to have a better sense of trend identification. So confirmation is going to be key. You don't want to base your decision just on crossovers. Look for some confirmation from other technical indicators like the RSI or stochastic oscillators to gauge momentum and identify potential overbought and oversold situations. So also price action will matter, of course, right? Price action confirmation can strengthen the crossover signal. So if you see breakout above resistance levels in a bullish situation or below support levels in a bearish situation around the crossover point, that could be a huge sign that you want to get in or out or, whatever right now. That's a huge sign. You also want to remember here as well, crossovers can be misleading. We just talked about false positives. They're also not super reliable in volatile periods. because they can generate false signals or whipsaws where prices will eventually reverse after a crossover. So here's an example of an MA crossover with RSI. This is on, I believe, a daily chart. But you see you have here your bullish crossover and the RSI entering bullish territory. And look, the market's like, la-di-da-di-da. You've got the State Bank of India moving to the upside here. Then we start to see a little bit of pause. We get a little bit stagnant. And then the RSI is like, I'm not going to be in bullish territory anymore. Bye-bye. Crossing to the downside. We have our bearish crossover and the price action reacts in turn. So here's just one example of how we can use these. So what's going to be the takeaway here, right? I mean, we'll have lessons all week, but by mastering moving average crossovers can be really great skill, but it also takes time and practice and a healthy dose of skepticism, which you always kind of want in this market, right? So always make sure that you make your list, you check it twice, and you find out which of these crossovers is naughty and which one is nice, because moving averages are coming to town. You also want to understand, you can actually strengthen things by understanding your golden and death crosses, exploring variations, and incorporating confirmation techniques to help you be well on your way to identifying trends with greater confidence. And here's a little bonus challenge, extra credit, if you will, take home homework. You can test your newfound knowledge by grabbing some historical price charts or a paper trading account and practice identifying crossovers and potential trends. But remember, and believe me, I took a hard lesson in this, paper trading allows you to experiment without risking real capital, like say, for example, fat fingering on GME, just as a hypothetical. But yeah, and all jokes aside, yeah, I can laugh at myself. You learn and you live, and that's why paper trading is really nice. So you can, as Christina Aguilera did in her 2007 album, back to basics.
I like it.
Thank you.
All right. We moved up on Apple, but not with the same aggression that Google's moving up. So it looks as if this was kind of movement for Google shareholders, because I think they were a little worried, because it's moving up nicely here. We're knocking on the door of 168, guys, and the flat top from which we broke was 166.50. So Google doesn't typically move $1.50 at a time like that, but it did now. So great move up here for goggles. Keep your eye on that level, 168. It's not like a level that I charted or anything. It is the whole dollar level. To go green on the day with Google, we got to break above 168 2/3. That's about almost a buck from where we're currently trading at. We're trading at in the 80s at the moment, knocking the door of that whole dollar. So we'll keep eyes on Google. No real levels of resistance or support to talk about other than this 166.50 as a level of support, because it's the area from which we broke, and this 168 2/3 as a level of resistance. There goes 168 on goggles. This thing is moving up. A lot of aggression on this name. So this gap down that we experienced early to this morning at 4 a.m. when we basically opened at 166. Where do we open? 167.39, and by the time that candle closed, we were down to 166. So it's been a tough day for Google, but recovering right now, as most of these Mag 7 names. You have Nvidia, which absolutely had a beautiful, beautiful bounce off not only the 900 level on a closing basis, but even the wicking basis. Took you right into Friday's closing print. That's 898.80. So if you were at $8.99 and the spread was within 10 cents, you got printed. And now you're $3.50 in the money there, because that would have been an $8.99 print, not a 900 print. We're curling back here into 903 on Nvidia. Keep your eye on that. Tesla's really the only one that's doing bupkis at the moment as a result of this newer headline that we just got out of the event. It's still a downward channel. Nothing's changed ever since that big boy move, which ended essentially at 950. So this one had all of 20 minutes of fun, and then it's been down and to the right since that time. Nothing really to report other than the short is absolutely paying on Tesla and has been the entire day. All right, so the dead one is about 4 pennies off HOD, so that's as good as it's going to get for me. We're going to take it out there for a nice 24 penny winner on AAPL. We'll see what other trades are in the works. Before I get to NVAX, say it again, Neil? Really? Duolingo got smoked, Neil says, when they showed the real-time translation. So dang, son, let's look at Duolingo. Not that I really care about doo-doo, but yeah. What's the ticker, Neil?
DUOL.
DUOL, thanks. Wow, what a big move down. Here it is. For some reason, this chart's freezing. Ram should just show Anil's chart there for a second while I figure out what the hell was wrong with this chart. Yeah, sorry about that. You want to take over for a second?
Yeah, I can. Sorry, I got lost in the sauce there for a second. Yeah, I want to say great jobs on your Apple trade.
Oh, thank you. Good.
Pun intended.
Very nice. Appreciate you.
Yeah, great jobs. Also, AMD. I don't know what it is with me today. Apparently today, you know, like the season of the witch, the year of the dog. Today for me is the day of the fat finger, but we're gonna have to change that. Another fat finger move for me on AMD, unfortunately. But I was like, you know what, Adara, you still like it? Add back in, same amount, same position size. Actually got a slightly better price, so I'm okay with that right now. We're gonna be getting involved here. Since I've gone back on the sim, I've only played 2 names. They're gonna be AMD and Nvidia. They're semiconductors. They move semi-similarly, and I really have levels I like on both of them, which I want to discuss. AMD, I'm taking that rejection off the 152.20. I want minimum 151.70, so I'm actually gonna get, we'll do 151.74. We're gonna get half the position out there, and I cannot have that fat finger move again, because that's what happened the first time, and I don't want to have to keep adding into this. There we go. Then NVDA, let's see how she's doing. I want to take this short here, that 902.30s. I totally agree with what Sharif said about that 903. If we reject 903, that I'll stay in the position. If not, we'll get out. My Nvidia position is infinitesimal. It is minuscule. It is really just for me to practice getting involved in levels I like. Because if I can do that in the sim, why can't I do that in the live? I'll have to find out, but I want to do it in the sim at least so I can actually feel like my, me getting shot down was not for naught. I want to learn something. I definitely use that incorrectly, but I want to learn something, and I think the biggest thing I'm learning is just if you like it, take it, manage it appropriately, and get involved and want all the smoke. So I do indeed want all of the smoke, but I just said Deuce. That reminds me, how is Deuce doing?
Not doing very good. I mean, it's trying to recover a little bit here. Duolingo, a bit of a tough. I mean, I completely understand the market's reaction to this because, if you have an AI that's just going to be able to translate anything for you on, I think we already kind of have that, but not to the extent that I think, the market is predicting this will be. Anyway, 183 bounce right now on Duolingo, trying to come back into 184. It had really done no volume to that big monster red candle. That did about 30,000 shares on this 90,000 shares on this 3-minute chart, by the way, on Duolingo. So we'll keep eyes on that. I'm still very interested in this 187 rejection on Apple. Say it again. It looks as Mira Murati just thanked Nvidia. I'm assuming, obviously, because she has to thank Nvidia. Without Nvidia, they wouldn't be able to do any of this stuff over here. So we're going to find out here if it's done. I think it might be done here.
It is, yeah.
It is done, yeah. So it's all over. And that is the end of it. So that lasted exactly 26 minutes, a little bit less than half an hour. Let's see how the market reacts now that the event is over. Google is still knocking on the door of that pivots at 168.35. It looks like it's going to head higher here. Google looking awfully strong. The question is, does Apple get continuation? I think the fact that we're at 187 really sets up a good short here, like a sell the news. Again, I don't want to jump in front of this and absolutely get smoked. But, this is just kind of experience talking here, like where let's see. Maybe I'll miss a little bit of it to participate in some short here. Now, if you have a 187 break and take, the short's off the table. I mean, I'm not even thinking about the short. The short is because we're in front of 187 and it could be a sell the news event. That's really all that is. So I'm keeping my eyes here on Apple, and it's coming down. So we popped up into 93. Now it's at 72s, not with any vigor though. We'll keep eyes on that. JG, I see you, sir. Duolingo is tanking. We mentioned that as well. People are asking about coin. All right, let's find out about coin. Let's look over here. What's Coinbase up to? I moved cryptocurrency down so I could move these meme stonks.
How dare you kick out crypto for memes?
I gotta prioritize, Adara. Who's moving on the day? Is it crypto? Is it Chinese ADRs? Chinese ADRs have a good dip, by the way, today.
I understand, but will crypto understand? I'm joking.
No, they won't. They won't.
True. That's true.
Yeah, but you know what? Crypto's not that important to me. Where's Fabian? Okay, good. He's
Ruben enjoyed that one.
Yeah, Coinbase is down now below $200, guys. Down 1 1/5% on the day. we'll keep eyes on that. It's not something that I've charted all day, and I don't really want to start now because we're focusing on these Mag 7 names and these meme stonks, and that's kind of what I'm focused on the day. I just want to see if Apple catches a win here at either the 10 or the 20. If it breaks both, that's it. Then I'm going short on Apple. To break both, it's going to have to break and close below 186.50. So that's about 17 pennies from where it's currently trading. Apple heading down after the end of the OpenAI event, Adair.
Yeah, Apple heading down, and, you know, Mira Murati thanked Nvidia, but short sellers also taking Nvidia right now. And I just took Nvidia short, small position. Shout out to Jay Lee, who I know said was involved in this through NVDL. This is, you know, this is just, honestly, this is a huge lesson to me. As I mentioned earlier, if anyone misses, I am in the sim right now because I had a fat finger moment on GME, which is not the stock you want to have that in all honesty. But you know what? I'm learning from it, and I'm trying to trade the way I want to trade. You know, it's like treat people the way you want to be treated. I'm trying to trade the way I want. Yeah, this analogy got lost, but you know what? It's okay. I am really just trying to learn and grow, and I think these trades I'm taking in Nvidia in the sim have me kind of questioning how I've been trading in the live. So I think I'm gonna have to take a long, hard look at myself in the mirror, take some journal notes. You know, I'll have to start with the man in the mirror and ask him to make a change, because I think that's really what I need to be in the market. I don't like how I've been trading since I've been going live. I'm going to be really
I don't mean to laugh at that because I know you're talking real here. You're talking serious.
Yes, I am.
But you said the man in the mirror thing.
I'm not at all. Okay, like, I want to clarify too, because I've seen in the past sometimes people in the chat like, oh, Sharif's laughing at Adara. It's all in good fun.
Not at all.
And I would say it's very mutual as well.
Yes.
And you know, if I'm going to say serious stuff and throw puns in, that's kind of, you know, we're all good with that. But no, I appreciate you acknowledging that because I am being very honest. It is something I'm going to have to reflect on because there's really no reason that my, you know, turn in the sim should be more effective than what I've been doing since going live. So I think it's all the mental, as Obi says. A lot of it's in the mental. So I need to get less lost in the sauce. I need to dig myself out of the sauce and maybe go on like a sauce-free diet for a little bit. Just focus on what worked and try to improve myself. Someone though just slid into Zuck's DM, so I want to hear all about that.
I did. I'm just gonna put my stop on this. So we're gonna put it at 4.6 now. Let's go 20s because what's life without whimsy? All right, we're let's see, where did we get short? 61s, and now we're at 39. So let's put it over here. Let's see if we can get a mover, a nice move down. Look, this is short for one reason only. Well, a couple. One is because, wow, I just got filled. That was super quick. Dang, son. One is because Meta's down 1 2/3, Adara. The other, it came into the 50. And it rejected previously off the 50. So I said, look, this is I don't want to call it a high probability trade because it's not. But it was, hey, this was accurate before. Is it going to be accurate again? Looks like for the moment it is. So about 40 pennies in the money on the monster Meta. Let's see if we can get a 467 2/3 move. That would be the volume weighted average price. I think that that's a reasonable area to have a profit taker, maybe 468 even because it's the whole dollar level. I'm going to pack my patience. I put my stop above 469 because it is the whole dollar level, and I figured that that would be a good risk to reward ratio. So we're going to keep eyes here out on Meta. I'm looking for a curl off the 50 period on the day. That was the impetus for the trade. Now, we were looking for the dead one to reject and start curling back down after the event with OpenAI is over. It really hasn't done that. So, I mean, the market is not over exuberant about the information that was released there or Apple's connection to the information that was released, but it doesn't dislike it either. It wasn't like they hyped it up and then it ended up being a bust. No, because it's not selling off. In fact, it's continuing to put in higher lows. So right now it's trying to hold the 10. It didn't even make it down into the 20 on that last little 5-minute dip. So good look there. And dang, Meta. Wow, that was a quick move down 468. Very happy with this trade on META. Took the short at the 50 period, and there goes 468. We actually got on the sell side of 468. I'm thinking VWAP, though, is probably the better level, 467 2/3, but I suck as a trader. So I just took it out at the whole dollar level. Good move back down for Meta. And there's also a topping tail candle coming in here on the soft one. So look at this topping tail candle that moved into the 200 period, and it looks a little better when I do it like this. When I zoom in, it looks distorted. So softy, 415.75 or thereabouts, curl back down, holds at 413.25, and then it comes into the 20 period, which quite honestly hasn't featured as a level of either resistance and support, and then decides, yeah, okay, I'm going to use it. I don't know. Well, yeah, you just don't even know why sometimes they use levels and sometimes they don't, and you just got to kind of go with it and figure out which time frame off which of the algo is trading and what moving average it's using, if any. So keeping an eye here on the soft one as it does a topping till candle. We'll see what we get on this one.
Yeah, it's been quite the day. Shout out to Sharif. That's a great level. And I really like where you took it out too, because you took it out where we had that resistance earlier and that that average. So I think it's a really great look. Like I know you said
that.
But I think it's a nice. I like it. Thanks. So yeah, shout out to that for whatever that's worth. I think that's a nice look. Shout out to Sharif there, killing it with that. No Zuck needed. All skill, no Zuck. No, I'm joking. But yeah, nice look there. Also, yeah, so I want to look at GME because Miles in the chat was like, oh, no one's looking at GME. Yeah, so I also want to explain something because someone was asking in the chat, like, how did you fat finger GME? So I totally want to explain it because we're all here to learn. So first of all, I want to say I'm still happy with the initial short I took on this. Took the short just shy of 30 because we kept rejecting this area and we had the nice move down earlier, right? So I said, I'll take it short. Took it short, risked about 50 pennies, 60 pennies, got out at 30.50, clean break, et cetera, move on. Then I'm sitting here at lunch and I'm like, I kind of like this 30.50 area, right? So I get involved and it's holding so clean. It's holding too cleanly. In retrospect, I should have known this was a sign. Holding way too cleanly. Also, sorry, you can't see these because this is when I was in the live, and right now I'm in the sim, thanks to my boy GME over here. No, I'm joking. It's thanks to my own fat finger, but basically got involved 30.50. Was like, cool, great. We keep bouncing off that 30.35. I'm like, Then we fall with the viciousness. That's this big old candle here. We fall like crazy fast, and in my attempts to get out, would have been fine, except I accidentally added in, like, honestly, 4 times the shares I even had in the first place. And that was where the fat finger got me. It was the fact that I fat fingered in the first place, and it was the size with which I fat fingered. So unfortunately, I did get shut down, had to switch over to the sim. But you know what? That's why I'm repeating this, because it's something I want to learn from. Sean also alluded to the fact that this will probably get mentioned on the market recap, which I'd be pleased as punch to talk about, because I think you only learn from figuring out where you went.
100%.
So there you go. Stan in the chat said as well, how many fat fingers will there be today? Hopefully no more, Stan. I really hope no more. But I'm right with you there, Stan. I'm like, because I've been pretty good about not having any fat fingers since going live until today, where apparently it's just like one after the other. But you just gotta have a bit of a sense of humor about things, and just keep going and keep learning, keep growing. GME, if you keep rejecting off that 9 EMA, someone might be interested. Right now, though, I've really just been playing semiconductors since I got back in the sim. AMD, Nvidia, up on the day. Always bullish positivity, ready to keep working. Yeah.
Randy, what are you looking at up there? I love it. There he is. He's up to no good, as usual. I love it. It's going to be something EV related, hopefully. Okay. Give us a little bit of a clue. Randy on the 1s and 2 up at the big desk. We'll keep tabs on what he's looking at. I'm sure he'll have something great for us on that. What do we call it? The afternoon rundown?
The rundown.
The rundown, yeah. All right, sounds good. Havana Woody, Sharif, you think we might get a primer in futures trading someday? Oh, okay. Look, so we're doing moving average crossovers all week, and then the NOS boss really brought my attention this morning, Adara, to the measured move. So I want to do 5 lessons next week on the measured move, and there are some really 5 good ones we could do. But I would not be at all upset about doing a futures trade after next week.
Nor would I.
Because we haven't done futures in a minute.
Yeah.
So we could talk about, the different approaches you and I take to futures trading. Absolutely.
I like that.
Havana Woody, we're sold. So this week we're going to finish the moving average crossover. And then next week we'll do the measured move. And then I promise you the week after that, we will do futures trading. And maybe we'll even have some guest traders on for you.
I would love that.
Who knows? All right, the dead one is making a bit of a move down now. So Apple is on the way down here after the end of that OpenAI event, and it is at the 20 period. I'm not going to punch long here, nor am I punching short. I want to watch how we deal with the 20 period because there has not been a closing print on the 5-minute chart on Apple that is south of the 20 period. If this one closes, it would be the first. Obviously, since, not the open, but since we broke out here at 1020, right? This has been obviously trending, and the point of the moving averages is to try to catch something on a retracement while it's trending, the larger trend. Right, so we'll keep eyes on the dead one Apple here as it tries to hold its closing print above the 20-period moving average. Day trader cut, bring in Arun for Fuge. Hey man, I try, but he's too busy gymming all the time, so I really can't get him in. Jonathan Canny, please call Arun as a special guest. Bro, you trust me, I have tried. Believe me on that, I have. So you just take my word for it, and if it was forthcoming, I'd be all up on that. But sadly, it's not. So we'll have to figure some other stuff out, guys. Everything's curling back down now. I'm not really seeing a whole bunch of strength. Even goggles came in exactly into 168 2/3. Technically, it has a HOD of 75, but this is a $170 name. Forgive it for going over its closing print by 10 pennies. And right off that closing print from yesterday, Friday, 168 2/3. It's now $1 lower, 167 3/4 incoming here on goggles. Keep your eye out for possible support at 167 1/4. That is where the IB high is, and if we get support at the IB high, it'll be at around right here, 167 1/4. The 10 period, the first moving average on the way down from the high of day is this 10 period, which is hanging out at 167 1/2. So that could be an interesting area there. It's broken now down about 20 pennies below the whole dollar, so not much in the way of support right there. Price action wise, we'll have to wait to see if a moving average comes in. The first price action support I can see here is 168 1/4. We'll see what happens there. Stephanie Rudy, Sharif, that mustache though, you got to give it time to work in, man. I'm just working in at the moment, right? Like it hasn't fully manifested yet. Give it some time. I'm trying a new thing here.
No, I literally never mind.
Ram's laughing at me, and Randy's laughing, you're laughing, and everybody's laughing.
He was like, "Oh, did you see the mustache?" And I was
usually you're pretty quick to pick up on everything. If I wear a new shirt, if I wear new shoes. Yes, Randy. Yes, Randy. Adara picks up on everything right away. So the fact that she didn't pick up on a stash, I was like, you feeling okay?
I didn't notice you shaved your beard right away either. And that was the one where Brendan was even like, how did you not notice that?
Because we hadn't known each other that long.
That's true. Yeah, that was like pretty early. But you're right, like this mustache, for shame on me, because I don't know how I didn't notice that. Until then, everyone's mentioning it, and I was like, oh, there is a mustache. But yeah, there is indeed a mustache.
It looks like I have some dirt on my face, eh? It looks so...
I think it's a mustache. Ramin's like laughing like a seal.
Ram's laughing up a storm back there. I love it.
Brad Gober says he must ask you a question.
Oh, wow. What is it, Brad?
Maybe he must ask you a question. Yeah, that's I want to bring it,
Ah, so you have some Tesla stuff to talk about there. Oh,
Not even.
I thought you were trying to prime in some Tesla.
Ramin.
Dewey, Sharif has the face for a stash. I hope that's a good thing. I don't know. My old man always told me you have to have a long upper lip to have for the mustache to be nice on you. I'm like, I don't agree with that, Dad.
That's highly specific.
Yeah, I was like, where did you get that? Who told you this kind of stuff,
Dad? He's
like
studied it. He studied like the facial symmetry. Yeah. Like, this is the right face for a mustache. I don't know. I have no idea what he's doing, but.
All right. Who's to New York Cent? To NY Cent. Wants to short Amazon soon. I like that. Well, Amazon's been awfully weak. A good-looking double bottom, my man, though, at that 185 1/3. That's where the second double bottom, or like the right side of the double bottom, bounced off. Shush, Ram. A Bluetooth side effect? That's all I got to say about that. I don't know what else to say.
I think Jag's enjoying that one too.
Yeah. Jag's always silent back there. You never really feel Jag until he starts giggling.
He's always having a great time back there.
I
Great
love
presence.
Jag.
Yeah, sure.
Good vibes, Jag, man.
Everybody's good vibes. Right
But the Katina, man, is good vibes.
Good vibes.
186.50, where VWAP is, Adara on Amazon there. So what's his name? 2 New York cents wants to short Amazon at those levels. I think you got a good plan there. Maybe even the 50 period, 186.40 on the Amazonian. Amazon has been down into the dang right all day and absolutely has resistance for whatever reason here. Local area resistance at 186 and a third, between a third and a quarter. That's where we topped out. That's where the rounded top started going in, and now we're getting resistance around there again. So I do like your call out on there. I just received a message from Big Kyle Burdett on the gram. It reads as follows. Sharif, just heard the talk on futures trading. I think it would be beneficial to focus on the SPY and the triple Qs. So many here, like myself, trade them both as shares and using options. Dan Emmons might be interesting for the NQs, triple NQs. Absolutely agree with you, Kyle. We will be talking about the Qs and the SPY. I know that more traders, at least on our stream, like to trade those for futures rather than the actual futures contract themselves. You bring up a valid point, and Adara and I definitely will take that into consideration when we do that week on the futures. Thank you for Big Kyle.
Thank you.
For letting us know about that. All right, Apple still above that 186.50 area, and it did break below the 20 period. But look at this, the closing print right above that 20 period again, but I don't know for how long now, because now we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 red candles on the 5-minute chart off that 186.93. We're trying to dance with the half dollar. Let's see if this holds up. I've been telling you this half dollar to basically 1/3 area is an interesting price action support area because of this top that we put in here. So keep your eye on that. Apple headed down after the end of that event. And yeah, most of the names are headed down as well, Adair.
It got a little bit nicked by that Nvidia spread. Tried to get out, and then Nvidia was like, you're stuck. So I was like, cool, now that's working, it's fine. But I'm just gonna have to get out here because I just don't want to stay in Nvidia anymore. So yeah, didn't work out. Currently, what, you're gonna let me out, Nvidia? Okay, cool. Apparently not. This spread is in a word spready. My mood is in a word, huh? It's been a crazy day, honestly. Like I said, first time getting shut down, but when you get kicked out, you just have to keep getting back up. And you have to be proud of how things happen and how things worked. Clearly, the theme of the day for me has been, for whatever reason, fat fingers, and I don't want that to be the theme of the day tomorrow. I've learned a lot. Currently down right now in the sim as well, but risk management has been pretty decent. And you just got to live and learn. As cliched as that is, it is a cliche and it's a term for a reason. And I think I'm happy I even had the impetus to trade GME at levels I liked. It wasn't meant to be. You got to keep going. Nvidia long, what do you think? Zion Lala? Yeah, I mean, as someone who's been doing that dance with Nvidia, I think it is a long. Initially tried to take the long way too early, tried to get long 90140s, and if you're thinking, oh, that's kind of early, it was indeed kind of early. We had that nice little range. Tried to take that short off the top of the range, and then Nvidia was like, Adara, the range is done. I'm just going to be long now. So I don't at all disagree with you. Zion Lala, not only is it a VWAP bounce, right? So I yelled that.
I love it.
Very excited.
It got me.
It's also a bounce of that area we had earlier at 900, and we had the 900 rejection earlier. And you know who else called out Nvidia 900? The guy to my right. So that's going to be, shout out to Sharif for calling that level. I think that's a nice pop here. And I think the fact that we broke that range we've been trading pretty steadily in, below 903, above 900, I think that's a nice look there. Zion Lala, not advice, just my take on the chart. However, we did reject a little bit off that area, that just shy of 905s. So we could still have some resistance in the water. But yeah, I think that's a really nice look here on NVDA. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. If we come back to that range, though, I'm going to have to be Walker Texas Ranger and come right back involved. All
right, I want to point out this name. I haven't had any trades on it, nor have I charted it. I haven't even mentioned it, but it's worth some respect. ARM is up big on the day, 7 2/3% on the back of news that they will likely be releasing a server chip, and there's also going to be more chips, AI-specific chips for ARM. It had a big day, guys. 110.86 low, 117.58 high. It's not like your regular run-of-the-mill ARM days where this thing's moving 20 some odd %, but a good recovery. And I want to show you guys where this is now on the pivots. So you'll recall that this was the high, this 165 high was the high on earnings, and then we take it all the way back down into the breakout area at around 72. So this area that we're coming into is a 50% retracement off that top into the breakout area, okay? So this 120, 118, 120-ish area is an important area on ARM, not just because of pivots, but look at the price action right above there at 120. There is a lot of support on these bottom wicks at 120 on ARM, and now we're recovering off that 85 dip off earnings. From 165, we dipped into 85, guys. Like, that's the kind of madness that we had on ARM. 165 into 85, and now we're trying to recover into 120. There is price action resistance at 120. It's not just about the fib, the 50% retracement mark. Keep your eye on that for ARM. Chart that, have that in your mind when you're trading it the next few days. See if it means anything, or it's just another line, another price action support or resistance, excuse me, that didn't hold up. But I'm definitely gonna have my eyes on ARM at this level going into the week to see if it does reject. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. ARM, great day, 117.58 HOD. And that 118 area is essentially 50% retracements on fib. So good look there for that chip name. And it's been a mixed bag in chip day today, right? We've had Nvidia a little bit up, a little bit down. AMD is down. Even TSM is down. INTC's had a decent day. $30 to the penny is the low of day. So whoever was sitting there at $30 absolutely got printed, because this one moved up into 31.13. It's coming down now into 30 and a third, below the 50, below VWAP. No real price action support here, kind of just trading in no man's land. These are the two kind of the ones that I wanted to mention. Also, Duolingo, in case you're just joining us, absolutely tanked. It has a 189.30 HOD. It printed 176.81 at the low. It's below 180 now as a result of the new AI tools that are going to come out from ChatGPT that has live translation. The market didn't like Duolingo for that, and as a result, it did tank. Keep your eye out on that. It's down 4 3/4 more than 4 3/4 currently on the day. That is Duolingo. That's DUOL on the NASDAQ. What else do we have here? In case you're just joining us, obviously we have the likes of GameStop up 71 1/3%. AMC's up 50. It's meme craze again. We forgot about VinFast. VinFast is up 28.5%. Dang it, VinFast. Identify yourself next time. No, seriously, VinFast on the way up. It did have resistance. They're at 401. So that whole dollar level comes into play as a level of resistance on VFS on the day. Let's add the ticker in here so people can follow along. VFS did have a decent move last week, but yeah, the reason is moving today is because not of any catalyst specific to it, but likely as a result of the meme craze that we're currently having. 30% of the good, nothing to disparage. Costs, also trying to recover here. KOSS, I saw this thing trade live in living color when it squeezed. I watched it live in the pre-market move from like $15 to over $100. I watched it live, and there was a guy trading it. So I'll never, ever forget KOSS, even though it has done nothing in 3 years. Yeah. Do you know what this is? Remember those headphones that used to say KOSS? That's this company. That's literally this company that you don't see anything from anymore. KOSS, though, up decent, 32%. Let's see what we get tomorrow. Do we get continuation for some of these memes? Or is it going to be a wham, bam, and thank you meme stock, and then we're done with that? Also, Adara, with meme stock craze, Ram, if I can show this, Rivian up 10 3/4. Fisker down on the OTC up 13 and a bit. Plug Power, for whatever reason, up 13 2/3. Do you have anything to say?
No, I was just like
you had something
going like.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked.
So big moves up, and we're assuming, again, these are assumptions, that Rivian and Plug and these other names are moving up because of the meme squeeze. There's no specific headline for Plug Power, no specific headline today for Rivian, other than the fact that maybe it merges with Apple, which I think is absolute bupkis. But what's going on with Rivian stock? Let's look here. Trading higher and above average trading volume. Better than expected, likely as a result of the meme stock craze. Okay, so that's exactly what that is. So yeah, that's a look in a nutshell. What are you guys looking at? NVAX as well. Sorry, Daniel. Yes, NVAX is on the side chart. NVAX had a great day. It's still having a great day. It's still up 40% RAM at these levels. This level, though, is quite important because this double bottom over here at $12.11 is what precipitated me to actually have a dip trade at $12.10 earlier. I since removed that because it got away from my level so far. It got up to 13.5 since that time. I mean, this was at the beginning of the show. I was thinking this double bottom would come in to test VWAP. It didn't. It held up at the 20. And so did every subsequent print, for the exception of this candle right here at 145, the first candle to close below the 20 period on the day. So that could bring a different, vibe, tune, whatever, for this stock into the afternoon. And the 10 period is about to death cross the 20. It hasn't done it quite yet. Perfectly appropriate for our lesson of the day today when we're talking about moving average crossovers.
I was going to say, yeah, that's certainly confluence with our lesson. Also, yeah, that thing's going to need a shot in the arm to recover from that death cross. That's for sure there for NVAX.
Love it.
But that's a nice look. Also, some other meme stocks, too, to keep in mind, or like stocks with heavy short floats. Talked about this morning, ChargePoint. Kohl's, KSS, another one to keep an eye on that I saw this morning. Solar Edge, SunPower, which I looked at for someone in the chat, UV to great hip hop artist, I believe. We also had Soundhound, another one that was kind of barking up there with its friends. So I think those are howling a little bit there. So the hounds howled. But yeah, there's quite a few things to look at here. Also, I cannot believe I had another fat finger moment today. I mean, I can. It's what I've been doing all day. Apparently I'm becoming a natural at it. But no, I can make fun of myself,
okay,
right? But I
fair.
think the thing is, I was not joking when I said I'm gonna have to look at myself in the mirror and be like, what happened today? And how do we have that not happen again? Because today has not been my best trading day. You know what I mean? And I think the biggest source of that was the fat finger movements. That was really my, whatever the opposite of saving grace is, my death knell. That's what it was. It was my death knell, time and time again. So you know what? We're gonna have to stop singing shares time after time and have to, stop. I can't think of another example here, but we just have to stop having fat finger moments. And you know what? I'm really excited to come back tomorrow with a fresh head on my shoulders, a fresh perspective, and proofread these trades. You got to look at it as the upside. Yeah, so I'm in Meta. I like the base of that range here. Shout out again to Sharif for killing that Meta short earlier. I
appreciate you.
That was awesome there. Yeah, you did. Yeah, that was. I was trying to make a pun on Eduardo Severin and Saving Grace, but I couldn't. But just know that was the intention. I'm about on and off around 10 pennies in Meta right now. I have to say, since I stopped trading Meta, the spread has gotten slightly better, I think. It's not perfect, but it's not as bad as it was. But yeah, got involved here at the bottom of this range. I'm aware we have slightly lower highs. I'm cognizant of that. Happy I didn't chase. Waited at the level I like. Did have a bit of a fat finger move here when I was trying to set my out. But going to stay in this unless we break below 50s decisively, risking about 25 pennies. Please just punch.
So 4 minutes left on the show. We can do maybe a quick Prem rant.
Let's do that. Why not?
Because, well, Adara, I don't know if you know, but this coming weekend is the final week for the Premier League.
Already?
And it is the first time in 20 years that Arsenal will be in play for champions on the final day of the Prem. So here's how it broke down.
Yeah, please.
You can go to the two-shot. So, Arsenal dropped points against Aston Villa. You don't really need to know about that. So Arsenal basically has played one more game than City. So we played 37, they played 36. And the reason is they had to postpone a game for another tournament. That's what happens in the Prem. So you play 4 or 5 tournaments. Yeah, there's so many tournaments in soccer.
I don't know how you follow this. It's impressive, Sharif. It's really impressive.
Right? So here's the deal. So they're going to play on Tuesday. And they're going to play Arsenal's most hated rival.
I know.
Tottenham
Hotspurs.
There you go.
I listen.
And so they're going to play away at Tottenham. Now, Tottenham is in its own fight. It's trying to fight with Aston Villa for a Champions League spot. Top 4 teams in England go to the Champions League.
Okay.
So right now, them and Villa, big. So Tottenham really has a reason to win. It's not like a no-purpose game. Okay?
Okay.
There's a real reason to win.
There's stuff on the line.
Yeah. So depending on what happens on Tuesday, Arsenal could go into the weekend with an advantage against City. Because if City drop points, any points, if they tie or lose, they'll be tied or behind Arsenal. That means Arsenal will go into the weekend on Sunday when all the games are played at the same time, so you can't match fix. So all the last games are played at the same time. Do we have time?
No, yeah, sorry. We just
Okay. So here we go. So Arsenal could be the champions. It really depends on what happens Tuesday and then what happens again on Sunday. So it's going to be a big, big weekend for soccer fans, Premier League action. We haven't had a Prem go to the final week in like a long time.
Really?
So yeah, I'm really excited about that. The Prem. Let's go Arsenal!
Hopefully those Tottenham Hotspurs get fried like tater tots there. Call them tater Tottenham.
There you go. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, fingers crossed for you for that. That's awesome. I always forgot too that the Prem system is weird that they have like points.
Yeah.
That was like if you have like one more point than the other team, then
you win.
Yeah, that was like that because that's such an odd specific to the Prem kind of thing.
Yeah, it is. Well, hockey's the same thing too, right?
I
Hockey
guess,
has
I
points.
don't know
While I was dropping hotlines in the Prem, the GameStop just bounced up again, Adara, into this key area of resistance, 3150. That has been a level that has been a bit of a resistance level since 1105, and then again at 1205, and it seems again right here. Keep your eye on GameStop at that 3150. AMC though, what resistance level? This thing is on the way up, broke through $4.50, 456 HOD. It's up 56.33% right now at high a day. What a move up for these meme stocks. Keep an eye on them. I'm sure the big kahunas will be trading them. They were trading them all morning, so we'll keep tabs with that. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, GameStop got me stopped out there. The fun stopped for me in GameStop, but it certainly doesn't stop here for the show. Got out of Meta, pleased as punch, but we're going to have to wait and see what Ashraf calls them the big kahunas they're going to give for us. I hope you guys had a great time. I think we had a really fun start to the week.
Absolutely.
I'm certainly excited to take everything I learned today and bring it back to these markets.
Bang.
We had a Prem talk, and hopefully we had a Premier lesson. We're going to have to wait and see you guys tomorrow, though. Same bad time, same bad channel. Right now, we have the big kahunas and Brendan at the big desk.
See you guys.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome in. A couple hours left on a Monday afternoon here as we try and get back to positive territory for the S&P, so there's that. NASDAQ still holding on to green after that early